नमस्कार।
जी।
नमस्कार।
प्रणाम। प्रणाम सभी को प्रणाम। सभी
प्रणाम।
माननीय जो हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं उनको हिंदू नव वर्ष की बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। और आप, हाँ, हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं बहुत ही कुछ जिनको हम कह सकते हैं कि आज के हमारे जो समाज है, युवा है, उसको कुछ बहुत सज्जन लोग उसको दिशा दे रहे हैं। सो आई एम ग्लैड टू वेलकम एवरीवन with us right now is Dr. Sampadan Mishra ji, who is also going to give us the inaugural talk. So सभी को मेरी तरफ से नव वर्ष की शुभकामनाएं। इसको इसका टाइटल हिंदू नव वर्ष है, पर क्योंकि काल का जो कंसेप्ट है, राइट फ्रॉम कैलेंडर्स, हाउ टू कैलकुलेट टाइम, हाउ टू कैलकुलेट ईयर्स, वो सभी हमारे ही धरती से गया है। तो इसे हम नववर्ष भी कह सकते हैं, बिफोर इट वॉज टेकन ओवर। सो आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट Dr. Sampadan Mishra ji to, usher in the new year विक्रम संवत 2080 का स्वागत के लिए मैं माननीय डॉक्टर संपादन मिश्रा जी को अनुरोध करूंगा कि वो एक स्तुति के साथ, एक मंत्र उच्चारण के साथ इस कार्यक्रम का स्टार्ट भी करें और हम उनके साथ जुड़ें, सो दैट वी हैव अ गुड डायरेक्शन टू बिगिन विद। प्रणाम डॉक्टर मिश्रा जी, आपको आपके समय के लिए बहुत बहुत आभारी हैं जी। सो
अग्ने व्रतपते व्रतं चरिष्यामि तच्छकेयं तन्मे राध्यताम् इदमहमनृतात् सत्यमुपैमि। ओम शांति शांति शांति।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। बहुत ही सुंदर कार्यक्रम का शुरुआत करते हुए ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। सबसे पहले थोड़ा सा भूमिका के तौर पे, that this program was conceived because हम एक बहुत सबसे प्राचीन सभ्यता हैं और ये बहुत ही गर्व और गौरव की बात है। और इस चीज को जागृत रखने के लिए, जिस प्रकार से विद्या एक ऐसी चीज है जिसको हम एक पीढ़ी से अगली पीढ़ी पास ऑन करते हैं, उसी तरह से लेगेसी, रिच कल्चरल हेरिटेज, ये भी वो चीजें हैं जो हमें इट हैव टू बी पास्ड ऑन, विच फ्रॉम जनरेशन टू जनरेशन, एंड वी बिकम व्हाट वी सेलिब्रेट। जिस चीज को हम सेलिब्रेट करते हैं वही हमारे मन में, मनोदिशा में रहता है। वी ऑलवेज लुक फॉरवर्ड टू दैट। सो नववर्ष को सेलिब्रेट करना, हर्ष और उल्लास के साथ एक नई बिगिनिंग को सेलिब्रेट करना, वो बहुत ही अच्छा और उत्सुकता का विषय है। सो जो पहला सेशन है जो हम डॉक्टर संपादन मिश्रा जी के साथ करेंगे, डॉक्टर मिश्रा एक विश्व विख्यात संस्कृत के और कल्चर के विद्वान हैं। श्री औरोबिंदो सेंटर फाउंडेशन फॉर इंडिक स्टडीज के डायरेक्टर रहे हैं ऑलमोस्ट 25 साल, और अभी ऋषिहुड यूनिवर्सिटी में सेंटर फॉर ह्यूमन साइंसेज के अध्यक्ष हैं। तो डॉक्टर मिश्रा, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। जी नमस्कार।
नमस्कार। नमस्कार।
सो प्लीज, मतलब मेरा आपसे निवेदन है कि हिंदू होना, इसका क्या सिग्निफिकेंस है, इसका क्या साइंस है, और what is the pride in being a Hindu? Kindly guide us, kindly guide the listeners, including myself.
Okay. So, yeah, before I proceed, two things like the session can be in English or Hindi.
So now, since Hinduism has been a global, you know, it's a global ideology. ये वसुधा की आइडियोलॉजी है, वसुधा कुटुंब है, उसकी आइडियोलॉजी है। आइडियली इसका ओरिजिनल लैंग्वेज संस्कृत में होना चाहिए था, बट आपको ये बेनिफिट ऑफ हमें देना पड़ेगा कि डाउट दैट वी विल बी स्लोली गोइंग बैक टू आवर रूट्स थ्रू दीज नॉलेज सेशंस, सो इट कैन बी मिक्स्ड लैंग्वेजेस।
And how much time?
Approximately 15 to 20 minutes जी।
Okay, thank you.
जी जी जी।
So, namaskar to all of you, and I wish you all a very happy Navavarsha. This new year is called the Hindu New Year, which is, it is said that it is the beginning of the creation. It is also a Sankalpana Divas. That's why when Vasishta requested me to recite a verse, so I recited that mantra from the Veda where there is a Sankalpa. And this Sankalpa is Agne Vratapate Vratam Charishyami. That wo Agni, wo Vratapati, you are the master of a Vrata. Vratam Charishyami, I take a Sankalpa to follow the vow, follow the Vrata. Tat Chakeyam Tanme Radhyatam. May I be able to do that. So empower me, endow me with all sorts of power, all sorts of things which are needed to follow this Vrata. And what is the Vrata? What is the Sankalpa? So it says, Idamaham Anrutat Satyamupemi. So from this falsehood that I am living, from this world which is filled in with falsehood, narrowness, meanness, limited world. So from here, may I move towards the truth, the light, and the expansion. Idamaham anrutat satyamupayami. असत्य से सत्य की ओर जिसकी यात्रा है, जो इस प्रकार के संकल्प लेकर जीवन में आगे बढ़ता रहता है, वह सच्चे अर्थ में हिंदू है। एक हिंदू होने का तात्पर्य ये है, टू बी अ हिंदू, अ सनातनी, is to follow the path of the truth. There's no compromise with the truth. From the world of falsehood, that's why our greatest prayers, just look at the way our rishis have given us the prayers. Idamaham anrutat satyamupayami. Asato ma sadgamaya. Tamaso ma jyotir gamaya. Mrityur ma amrutam gamaya. This is what defines what is the life of a Hindu. What is the sankalpa of a Hindu? What is the life's mission of a Hindu? What is the greatest purpose of life that a Hindu has set before himself? So he prays that let me be led from, become free from this asat, and then may I move towards the sat. Tamaso ma jyotir gamaya, from the darkness to the light. Mrityur ma amrutam gamaya, from this world of mortality to the world of immortality. So this is what, and around this sankalpa is the life of a Hindu organized, very systematically organized. And this is how, because the Hindu, because the ancient seers and sages who have founded this civilization, who have given us this strong foundation, and we all know that out of many civilizations which once existed, the only civilization, the Bharatiya Sabhyata, Bharatiya Samskriti, has a living presence in spite of all kinds of attacks, in spite of all kinds of invasions, in spite of all kinds of challenges. The only Sabhyata which has a living presence today, it has never stopped. With an unbroken continuity, it continues, and it will continue because it has a strong Sanskriti, a strong cultural foundation, which is the very foundation and the life of this civilization. And when we say a strong cultural foundation or strong Sanskriti, there is a whole difference between culture and Sanskriti. When we talk about Sanskriti, it is the vision of the life. What kind of vision that the ancient seers and sages had with regard to life, and how they tried to give expression to that vision without compromising with anything that is, that comes on the way. Clinging to the path of the truth, aspiring for the truth, it organized its life's activities around that central aspiration. So it moved in life. That is what is the significance of being a Hindu. A Hindu, a Sanatani, if we look at our way of life, I mean, it is very easy to say that Hinduism is a way of life. But what is that way of life? That way of life is not that Hindu has a particular robe, it has a particular shape, or it uses certain props just to look like Hindu. No. This can be all outer forms of it. But what is behind these forms? What is behind all these symbols that we use is that truth, that light, that spiritual force, which we call the Adhyatma. Spirituality, Adhyatma, is at the center of anything that a Hindu does, a Hindu Rashtra does, or Hinduism does. Anything which is done in the name of Hindu, spirituality or Adhyatma is at the center. And spirituality alone is the key to enter into the spirit of Sanatana Dharma, enter into the spirit of Hindu Dharma.
So, Dr. Mishra, yeah, I have to ask you one question because I would request it to be a very interactive session. And to my ignorant mind, speaking to a scholar like you, it brings in more questions, which I think our audience might also have. Today's word talks about independence of spirit. Sometimes it uses the word feminism. Sometimes it uses the word liberalism. The word is already split, where we come from a knowledge base, what we understand, that everything is interconnected. We come from such a knowledge system, such a beautiful knowledge system, where if one thing is changed, it has the ripple effect everywhere. So for a current day young Hindu, whether it be in Bharat or out of Bharat, could you recite some knowledge? Could you share some knowledge which talks about equality of all life forms between man and woman, between person of this country, that country, this religious system, that religious system, as we call being secular? Could you shed some light on our great scriptures which say that this is inbuilt in our way of life? We celebrate that equality ever since, not just between man to man, but between man to elements, between man and different other life forms. Could you shed some light there? Thank you.
If you look at the foundational texts of Sanatana Dharma, the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Gita, the Tantra, and many other philosophical texts, you'll find enormous amount of materials. That's one thing. But our Samskriti, our Dharma, has always been, like it is the Samanvaya, a synthesis, and Samatva and Ekatva. It is the Samskriti, it is the Dharma of Samatva and Ekatva. If you look at Ishopanishad, what it starts, Tatra ko moha kah shoka ekatva manupashyata. So as long as we live in the world of binaries, the world of duality, all problems are bound to be there. And then we do not have a lasting solution. That's why the Vedantic darshan, the Vedic and Vedantic philosophy, so it always showed us, and the rishis of the past, they have shown us the path, that the only solution that lies, lasting solution to all the human crises, human problems, is to be well settled, well established in ekatva and samatva. Tatra ko moha ka shoka ekatva manupasyata. Sarva bhuta hiterata. The Sanatana Dharma, it always believed in that. Not just believed, it lived that truth of doing good to the world. There's a beautiful book which I keep sharing with like others. Recently I read this book, Samskriti by Divi Gundappa. So there he says, like, how do we recognize a person whom we can call a civilized or a cultured person? So he picks up, like he speaks about 5 symptoms of a person who is truly Sanatani or a cultured person. The first thing he says, Swasthana Parijnana. Swasthana Parijnana means like one has to know one's own status. Like in what is, who am I? In what state of consciousness I'm in. Swasthana Parijnana. The next it speaks about Paringita Parigrahana. That what is the intention of others? What are the thoughts of others? Acceptance of that. And also knowing and understanding what goes on in others' mind. Then it says Swartha Niyamana. That one cannot be completely selfless, because to live in the world, anything that we do, there will be some swartha, some selfishness, but it has to be regulated swartha niyamana. Then it says about samanvaya drishti, a synthetic vision. There should not be any partial vision, a synthetic vision, samanvaya drishti. And then it says about sarasata, amiability, that in life, there has to be sarasata. It should not be dry life. That rasa, what we say, the Parabrahma is rasova isaha. So he's the rasa. So that rasa one wants to manifest in every aspect of life. So these are the 5 symptoms of a cultured person, and that also defines who a Hindu is, because all Hindus, they lived this kind of life. Swasthana Parijnana, Paringita Parigrahana, Swartha Niyamana, Samanvaya Drishti, and Sarasata.
That's so beautiful, so beautifully said. So, because we will keep moving in between the beauty of our knowledge, which is the source of our pride. To my basic understand, the beauty, the universality of our knowledge, and who is the protector of our knowledge? We can call it, if the knowledge comes from the protector, or the knowledge is protected by the protector, which probably I call him Shiva, some other people call him in different names, and the spectrum of valor. So the reason for this celebration is to bring about all those people, it can be brown, black, white, oriental, is to build a platform where everybody can bring about that this is the joy they experience, also to be led by our very learned scholars, who have been into the teachings and the realizations of our great scriptures. So this was very well defined. uh, I will like to just have a small question from a young 11-year-old person who's joined. So Tanay, are you there? Tanay Shah is from Bangalore, and he is going to perform on a very young live song. Okay, I think Tanay is not here. I wanted to, does somebody have any question regarding their daily life and what is the knowledge of scriptures? If somebody has a question, I think for Dr. Sampadanand Mishra ji, it is not the end of the session, but it will be great to see that how can we imbibe all those qualities जो कि डॉक्टर मिश्रा जी ने अभी डिस्क्राइब किया है. Otherwise, I will go to my next question.
Vasishtha, here is Vivek.
जी नमस्कार विवेक जी.
I just want to ask one question to the Mishra ji. Do you think there is a difference in the core central idea of the spiritual knowledge between the Vedas and the scriptures like Ramayana and the Mahabharata? Is totally same or is something addition to that? How we can differentiate and how we can unify all the essence of our total spiritual knowledge?
There, can you be little elaborate, and then the question is not clear to me. Can you repeat?
My question is that whatever the lesson we used to get from the Manusmriti and the Vedas, it reflects the same thing in the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, or is somewhat different, or is the extension of that knowledge? Means why we have to read only the one book, or there the all the spiritual books, or there is a mixture of all? How we can define that? I mean, if we say to that particular person that get to
Okay, I
spiritual
think
knowledge
I
from
got
this
the
one.
question. Vivek ji, I got
Yeah,
this question. So I think Dr. Mishra, Vivek ji wants to, we can only have one question in the session just to probably have the public, view. The question from Vivek ji is that do the knowledge in Vedas 100% reflect in the character or lives of our gods like Bhagwan Ram or Bhagwan Krishna? Is there a overlapping? To what extent is your feeling?
Okay. So if you look at the knowledge which is there in the Veda, it's the Rishi's realization of certain aspect of the truth or many aspects of the truth. But it is a direct perception, that's why we call it as Shruti, where the fundamental truth of the creation, of life, of consciousness, of everything is there. We need to understand what were the realizations, and if we can understand the essential, the fundamental realizations of the Vedic seers and sages, specific to the Veda, then we can understand how this fundamental knowledge or the fundamental realization of the seers and sages in the Veda, how they have taken different forms in the rest of the text. We also find the same knowledge, but they are narrowed down sometimes. They're separated from the fundamental truth and then cling to one particular aspect. That's how many philosophical schools have developed. But the fundamental truth is at the center. That is why every philosophical school, every later text, they refer back to the Veda. But very briefly, let me tell you what are the fundamental realizations of the Vedic seers and sages focused on the Vedic wisdom. And Sri Aurobindo, in his Secret of the Veda, I am a devotee of Sri Aurobindo, and then I keep reading Sri Aurobindo's books. Very beautifully, he summarizes, and in a very practical way, which we can see, he says that the first realization of the Veda or the Vedic seers and sages is that the world in which we live, the truth that we see here, the light that we see here, there is something beyond this light, this truth, beyond this world. There is a greater light, there is a greater truth, there is a greater world. This is the first realization. The second realization is that there is a way in order to transcend to become free from this limited world, limited light, limited truth, and then one can transcend to that. And man's purpose here on the earth is to find the way according to his own swabhav and swadharma. He has to find the path in order to transcend, and that must be the purpose, or that is the greater purpose of life here. This is the second realization. And the third realization is that there is a constant battle which is going on, and there is no end to this battle, and it continuously goes on. And this is because of the world of duality, the world of binaries. So as long as two exists, the problem is bound to be there. So transcending the binaries, there lies the solution. So it says there is a constant battle which is going on between devas and asuras, between the darkness and the light, between falsehood and the truth. And man's purpose is to gain victory over the falsehood, over the asuras, over the negative forces, and establish himself in light, in truth, in all that is positive, in all that is divine. And in order to do that, man has to allow the gods to grow within himself. Keep the divine as his comrade, constant companion, like Arjuna had Krishna beside him. And then the last realization is Ekam Sat Vipra Bahudha Vadanti, that there is one truth which manifests in various forms. And that one truth is absolute, Eka, Kevala, one without second, has no form, yet it can manifest in any form. Therefore, in every form, we must see the formless behind, because formless indeed is behind the form. So this is what is, in summary, the realization of the Vedic seers and sages. And when we contemplate on this fundamental truth of the Veda, and then we see how this truth is reflected in the rest of the Shastras, or presented in different ways suitable to the temperament of the people of that age. So this much I can offer from my side.
One last question, Dr. Mishra. Thank you so much for probably this query of different paths of dharma. And I think, as you suggested, it's probably left to one Swabhav to explore the knowledge and reach to the zenith. It has been also the question lingering in minds of many, including myself. So my last question for you, give us 3 indicators of why you think Sanskrit, which is your specialization, and 3 reasons about Hindu culture being scientific. Because normally how it is said that, we've been uprooted from our culture because of 1000 years of, foreign rule. So this endeavor to go back, to explore, search, dig out our roots, our knowledge, it will be a great help if you can just point out at three things in Sanskrit which tell us, that it's a very most scientific development of man's faculties, Sanskrit language.
I mean, I have to answer about the Sanskrit language.
Yes, because Sanskrit is so much so an innate part of being a Hindu.
Okay.
Yeah, so give us three examples which you believe is that Sanskrit is one of the probably the highest manifestation of faculty of mind, man, and jiva, or the tongue.
So the first thing, as per my own experience and experimentation with the Sanskrit language, that this is a language which we can call always as a mantric language. And we need to understand what does a mantric language mean. A mantric language means that a mantric, a language which develops organically from a certain fundamental seed sounds. And Sanskrit has a very transparent system of seed sounds and root sounds from which many words of it are derived. This is one of the most scientific component or scientific element with regard to Sanskrit. And here, not only the root sounds and seed sounds are just sounds, there is an inalienable relationship, an eternal relationship between sound and the sense. In other languages, which are mostly conventional languages, other languages do not possess this level of transparency of the seed sounds and root sounds. So in other languages, when you are not allowed to ask this question of why certain things is named as something, for example, like why do I have to call hand as hand? I may not have any answer. But in Sanskrit, the word describing hand can be very well explained that why it stands for, why a particular word stands for a particular object or stands for a particular idea. So, and this is where we see the role of the root sounds and the seed sounds and even the meanings attached. For example, like you take all the fundamental seed sounds that we have in the Varnamala, in the alphabet. Alphabet is a very poor word again to express Varnamala, but due to lack of word for convenience, we're using alphabet in English. But Varnamala, starting from A to H. So each and every fundamental sound here is, having many experiences, many meanings, many senses attached to it. And you will be amazed to know that there are many ekakshara koshas, monosyllabic dictionaries, which describe what does A mean, what does A mean. And it not only like every sound has ranges of meanings, ranges of experiences behind it. And these fundamental experiences, they decide the meanings of many words which are derived by the combination. And from these seed sounds and root sounds, tertiary root sounds, primary, secondary root sounds, but all coming from the bijaksharas. So each bijakshara is endowed with many meanings. I mean, you can see, so therefore we say that Vagartha vivasam prukto Vagartha pratipattaye. There is a Nitya Sambandha between sound and sense, where sound and sense become one. So this is one of the most, finest reasons which, attracts me towards Sanskrit, where the words, the sense, for anything that we use a particular word, it brings so much of clarity to our mental consciousness. And another important thing, because of a very strong, very systematic, phonetic, very scientific phonetic system, so it starts having its impact on every level of our consciousness. So at the physical level, the same sounds, they bring so much of healing, the chanting, the vibration, the purity of the sounds, the rhythm of the sounds. They keep refining our emotions. They keep bringing much clarity into the mind. So every aspect of our consciousness is refined, polished, and affected by the purity, the rhythm, the vibrations of these sounds that we have in Sanskrit. So if we contemplate on these simple things, like only on the Varnamala, the phonetic system, and the design of the language, and another most important thing is that how this language has facilitated the expression of many profound, many sublime things in a very precise manner, math-like precision. And it is because of this, it is because of that we
Yes,
could,
sorry.
Panini could give us Ashtadhyay. So these are few reasons for which, like Sanskrit is a very systematic and scientific language.
A very brief last question, which I think is very relevant. Today, the man has this challenge that his mind and his body and his antaratma, they are three chasing different things which this planet offers. I think a lot of people will have this. I won't say there is just duality, there is more than duality. Our body wants to go into one direction, our mind is chasing something else, and our conscious always tries to tug back and take us to the Param Atma. So, what you said that Sanskrit is the bridge between realization and thoughts and what we speak. So, do you want to say that speaking more Sanskrit brings the trilogy of our action, intention, and our thoughts into one unified, centralized pattern of behavior of human being? Do you want to say that? If I have to understand it in layman's way.
Because my relationship with Sanskrit, it's a great harmonizer, Samarasya Parayana. But merely speaking Sanskrit is not going to help, but we need to be conscious of each and every sound that we utter. A conscious use of this language can bring a greater harmony in the different parts of the being. It can harmonize and then give us that experience of ekatva. Give us that experience of that samatva and ekatva. Yes.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Please.
Not a mechanical use of the language, but a conscious use of the language.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us, Jik. And thank you for the enlightenment. I won't say this is the end. This is to bring curiosity. The sessions in Dharma can never be the end. The end is enlightenment, but the idea is to bring curiosity among young minds, on the minds who are in different levels of awakening, to get more rooted in their speech, in their actions. So thank you for this enlightening session, and thank you for joining us. Ji namaskar. And I wish you a great year ahead in all ways, and may your guidance always stay with us. So next joining us will be Dr. D.K. Hari and Dr. D.K. Hema Hari from Bharat Gyan. My pranams to both of you. And thank you for taking out time.
Pleasure.
Our pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Ji. Pranam to both of you. Wishing you a Shubh Nav Varsh. Again and again, I have this inclination to not to refer it as Hindu Nav Varsh, because time is old. Time is timeless. And we are the followers of Mahakal, the keeper of time, one of whose dimension is time. And Dr. Hari and Dr. Hema Hariji are here to enlighten us more about Mahakal, about Shiva. It's probably, I think it's almost a single syllabic word, Shiv, but it encompasses everything. So kindly take us through the journey of what do you think what is your understanding of Shiva, and probably we will benefit much. Personally, I would benefit a lot. Thank you, Ji. Please.
Thank you, Shivashish ji, for inviting us for this event. And as you asked us to speak about Shiva, we'll be glad to. We'll show you a few slides to start off with. Would you like to give us facility to share screen, please? And you can give the spotlight.
Yeah, we can see you very clearly, and we can see the slideshow. It's there, and we can also hear you.
Yes. See, when we speak about Shiva, we can appreciate, understand, and relate to Shiva from it's a symbolic phenomenon from three perspectives. Primarily, one is the state of arupa. Second, that is arupa meaning rupa meaning shape, arupa meaning no shape, shapeless. Then the second state, the intermediary state, is called rupa arupa. That is, there is some shape, but is not yet fully formed. So it is also arupa. So that's the intermediary state. When we say two things, subtle, gross, sukshma, stula, like that, from arupa, it comes to rupa arupa. And the third level, when you have the form, is called sarupa. That is, means sir, there meaning with. So with shape, sarupa is what we get there. Okay.
And actually here, we would like to highlight the aspect. Why are we looking at this from the arupa to sarupa is fundamentally because of the meaning of what Shiva really stands for. We normally are used to seeing depictions of Shiva as destructor, destroyer, somebody fierce, and so on. But if you look at the word Shiva itself, it actually means Mangalam, means auspicious. So, and what can be auspicious? When do you say something is auspicious? Now, something is auspicious when it leads to something good happening. So a good happening, or when something good is going to manifest, then that is what you feel as auspicious. You look at the rain and then you say it is clouds, and you say it's auspicious because now it's going to give you rains. So manifestation is auspiciousness. And therefore, Shiva, the tattva of Shiva, actually, when we say it is auspicious, it is Mangalam, it is standing for the ability of this cosmos, this universe, to manifest from the subtle into the physical as well. And just a little while ago, Shri Sampadananda Mishra ji very nicely said about Aurobindo, telling us that you have to know that there is the layers of formless. I mean, that there is behind all the forms that you're seeing, there is the formless. So this formless, so even though you see many forms, behind these forms you have the rupa, arupa, and the arupa state. Because when you're manifesting from subtle to gross, you have to come from the formless into a formless form to the form. And that is what these three states represent. And that is what Shiva really is, the tattva is all about.
So this has been brought out so well, Trishula. So this has been so well brought out by the concept of Trishula for Shiva. So we look at that, it's not Ekashula, it's not Doshula, it's not Charshula, it's Trishula. So this is Trishula, it denotes three aspects. It denotes the aspect of creation, sustainable dissolution, because the dissolution is for regeneration. That's at one level. Look at the second layer, that is Arupa, Rupa, Sarupa, as she explained to you so well. Look at the third level. It's Kaika, Vachika, Manasika. So the understanding of the implement of Shiva, which is Trishul, is not to be limitedly seen as a fighting tool. It's not to be seen as a fighting implement, just as a trident, as you say in the English language, but it's to be seen from the logic, the science, the rationale, the deeper level of understanding that it carries with it the idea of Trishula. That's the beauty of it.
Again, when you say Kaika, Vachika, Manasika, it means your physical acts, the speech, and the thoughts behind all of this.
Manasika is the thoughts. So it's a 3 layers to understand this. So that's the beauty of it.
And all of this, see, there is yet another perception of Shiva, and people are wont to, comment on this, of Shiva being embodied in the form of a linga. So here again, what does the linga mean? Why is Shiva embodied and shown in the form of a lingam? There is a very, very beautiful connect. Now we are talking about something that is formless and that which is going to manifest. Creation itself has been like that.
That's Srishti,
the
creation of the universe.
So this itself has been formless and it has manifested into the concrete forms that we have. We'll just show you. And this is actually brought out very nicely in the form of a story between Brahma, a tussle between Brahma and Vishnu, and where they see a column of fire. So this column of fire, which is infinite, and it comes up suddenly. So as per the story, Brahma goes,
one end.
Upwards, he flies upwards to one end of the column of fire. Vishnu goes deep downwards to search the other end of the column of fire. They both are unable to find because it's an infinite, and therefore they come back together, and then they realize that it is which is the Shiva, and this is Ananta, and expansion of this universe is instantaneous. So this lingam is actually representing the state of the creation where it is manifesting from the subtle to the gross, and in between you have this infinite suddenly growing state.
So it is not limitedly to the Shivlinga that we pray to in our home or in a mandir or in a sing. It is the infinite column of flame that this universe itself is, which is manifest itself. That is why in almost every Shiva temple all over the world, you see the idea of Shiva Lingodbhava. This is there, most Shiva temples explaining that that's the origin of lingam, because you can't show that what you call the expanse, which is immeasurable. So you show it in the form of a lingam, and a representative form.
And also the formless state, how do you represent? What form can you give to a formless state? So that is what you use as a lingam, because lingam means that which points to something else. So that which stands for something. So lingam, within which objects merge, meaning whatever you are thinking of is merged. The idea of that is merged in this particular formless form. So the lingam is that formless form. So the lingam stands for that interim state between the subtle and the gross.
And if you look at the famous temple in Varanasi, Kashi, we call it as Banalingam. The Banalingam there best exemplifies this state of transitionary state between Arupa to Rupa. So that is why it is all the more sacred for us. Yes, it's on the banks of Ganga, it's in the Kashi Nagara, Varanasi Nagara, all that. But what it represents there is that transitionary state, which is sublime, which is absolute science. It's cosmic science. That's what it is. So we see that all this we have shown in all this. See, this is actually cosmic creation. That's a mark of that. This is what we see.
I have a question out of curiosity, because I try to think in terms of like how young people would also try to see, because when I was a child I could not understand the beauty of our traditional classical music. It takes certain stability of senses, certain knowledge to realize and to appreciate. So our Jyotirlings in this matrix of transition, our Jyotirlings, how do they fit in? What kind of energies do these different Jyotirlings represent? Because I curious, out of curiosity, I remember that one of my friends who was having a certain problems in his life was asked to go to this Jyotirling near Nashik, specifically only to that. So how do you say that this energy, this transition, and how does it relate to a certain position a person is in life? Can you draw a correlation for our audience?
Yeah, we can just show you. Hema is showing you the different Jyotirling locations in different parts of India in this particular picture. There she's showing you, it's there. She'll share screen with you now and show you the Jyotirlinga. This is there in our book, Understanding Shiva. See, each of the, in your question itself, you asked about how do they correlate. Now, understand this. Each of the Jyotirlings exemplifies, brings forth a particular aspect of the Shiva Tattva. For example, when Srishti happens, when creation happens, what is the first thing that we do? We start hearing the echo of the Big Bang. The echo of the Big Bang. Today, you use the term Big Bang, you use the echo of Big Bang, all scientific terms which you hear from European notes.
You call it actually science today. You can correlate the echo of the Big Bang. They call it as cosmic microwave background radiation, CMBR.
Yes, we have made a film on it. Please watch it later, all of you. But the point is that is the idea of Omkaram. And that Omkaram, we celebrate as Omkarnath in one of the Shivling, in one of the Jyotirling. Like that, every Jyotirling has a specific purpose. And at the beginning of this, when you introduced us, you spoke about the concept of time. Because when do we have maximum time? At the beginning of creation. When do each one of us have maximum time? At the time of our birth. From that moment onwards, time is continuously reducing. It's reducing for the universe, it's reducing for the solar system, it's reducing for the galaxy, it's reducing for the earth, and it is reducing for each one of us. And where do you have the concept of measurement of time? For that, you have Mahakala Ishwar, which you call as Mahakaleshwar, now in Ujjain. Incidentally, we have made a film on Mahakaleshwar. We just see if we can pull it out and show you that particular film. It's our YouTube channel. Just give us a moment. We'll pull up it's there. All this is there for public viewing in our Bharat Gyan website, from which you can visit the Bharat Gyan YouTube channel. Just show you one or two short films. It's there. You just go to this thing. Just a moment, please. We'll try to get back to the link point.
Yeah.
You can go to our films in Bharat Gyan YouTube channel. There you can go to something called Amazing India series. It's in our playlist. There it is. Click on Amazing India.
Ramayana lives.
You can scroll down. There are quite a few films. I'll show you the film on.
See, here is about Om and the Big Bang. And here you will find about Ujjain.
Mahakaleshwar.
At the top.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, there's film.
Today,
It shows.
everyone knows that time is measured
Check.
from the Greenwich Meridian, which passes through London. But what many don't know is that in the years before the world turned Eurocentric, the meridian of the world was in India, passing through Ujjain, which was located at the junction of this meridian and the Tropic of Cancer. The shrine of Mahakaleshwar stands in Ujjain as a testimony to this fact. Mahakaleshwar is the lord of time. Not just Indian geographers, but even Greek geographers like Ptolemy make a mention of Ujjain in their maps as Ozine and the Ujjain Zero Meridian. In the 17th century, Raja Jai Singh built his observatory called Yantra Mahal in the line of this meridian. Way back in 499 BCE, Aryabhat the scholar wrote in his book Aryabhatya about the 4 cardinal cities on the earth along the equator. He clearly stated, when it is sunrise in Lanka, the same sun sets in Siddhapura. It is noon in Yavakoti and midnight in Romaka. Other prominent scholars like Varaha Mihira, Lalacharya, Bhaskara, Sankaranarayana repeatedly speak of the Indian zero meridian of Ujjain and the time zone concept of the world with the Indian meridian as its center. They understood and applied the meridians and relative measurements. The 4 different
So if you really see, therefore, from time immemorial, we have been celebrating this idea of time with the Jyotirlinga called Mahakaleshwar at Ujjain. And this has been so for many millennia. Till, of course, later when Europeans got to learn about the Indian way of keeping time, and then they came up with the idea of their meridians and so on. But that apart, so if you look at each one of the Jyotirlinga, they all stand for some idea associated with the Shiva Tattva. And that is true of every deity. The idea of every deity is that, and that's why we call them Vigraha. Because when you see the deity, you are supposed to have those kind of thoughts, which then are assimilated by the deity itself, the Vigraha, and is given back to you when people go there to visit the temple as well. So that is why they are sculpted in certain forms. They are given those kind of names. And there are those kind of stutis for each of the different deities in the temple. So like that, every Jyotirlinga, if you go back, you will get to see some or the other aspect of the Shiva Tattva, and which you are supposed to relate to when you go to that Jyotirlinga. So that is about the overall trail.
So,
and there you see in Kashi, it is a Banalinga. It's a linga which is kind of a formless form, because what Kashi stands for is that state of manifestation from subtle to gross.
like this, we have shown you one film now. We have other films. We'll just show you, for example, the idea of Nandi, the idea of Trishula, the idea of Rudraksha that Shiva wears. Each one of this we have made short films. Now, Hem, I'll just show you where it is in our website. It's just show you so that you can go and visit and view these films later, because the time given to us
That
by
I can
our
for
friend here
sure
is-
see, because of the little, we have slots. So of course, these
so we just
yeah, the website is
we
very well
appreciate that.
circulated. Haji, the website is very well circulated, and we also want to do follow-up sessions, because we want to interact more and learn what would not be available on the website. Because the creators of the website are sitting with us. So I think that the direct knowledge will be much more of use. We have a lot of Shiv Bhakts here. If somebody wants to have a question, Before that, I have one question that in your websites, I could see that there is a meaning of Damru. You explained what is the meaning of Trishul. So if you could also share some light on what is the meaning of Damru, why Shiva has a
Can we show you the
snake.
film itself?
I think it would be much better if you explain, because I think that the
Yes.
knowledge coming directly
Yes.
instead of a
Okay.
passive thing would be better. Yes, please. My
Sure, sure,
request.
sure. Absolutely. See, we are saying that Shiva is a regenerator, right? So it's auspicious manifestation. So regeneration means there is a destruction, then followed by a manifestation. So that in our Indian thought is very cyclical. So at every stage, we just did a course on cosmology where we showed everything on time is cyclical. And Mahakaleshwar, Shiva Tattva represents that cyclical aspect of time itself. And what is the cyclical aspect of time? It represents the cyclical aspect of creation, dissolution, and again, creation coming again. So this cycle, if you look at it, what is a cycle? It is a pattern. So what is a pattern? It is actually an order. So it is a pattern is like an order. And what is order? It is called Rita in Sanskrit. And from where you get the English word rhythm. Rhythm, which is order, which is pattern, is from this kind of a root, Rita. And this Rita is what this Damru represents. So the Damru, which keeps going back and forth and keeps the balls that keep going, that is represented. The Damru represents this Rita. That Shiva Tattva exemplifies actually.
Which is why in Taittiriya Upanishad, we have the shloka, Ritam vadishyami, Satyam vadishyami, Tanmam avattu, Tadvaktaram avattu, Avattu mam, Avattu Vaktaram, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So that rhythm, it speaks of the rhythm in not just our bodies. It speaks of the rhythm on earth. That's why the seasons are called Ritu. From which he said the English word rhythm itself comes. The base, what you call the bija akshara is here. So you see everything is cyclical, rhythmic. Beautiful, isn't it?
This is
What
so
better way to
wonderful.
represent than this?
So wonderful. Also, because we know a lot about third eye. I mean, a lot is said about third eye. Lot is not known about third eye. And this is where we put our tilak. And it said that, if you reach the highest self, your third eye will open. So kindly elaborate, kindly just, guide us about what is the significance of third eye, why it is so much talked about, and why when Shiva's third eye opens, it's destruction. So is it going to be destructive for everybody, or only Shiva's third eye is destructive? And Rudraksh. These two concepts, if you can throw light, that would be amazing. Yeah.
See, the consort of Shiva in Kashi, Shiva is called what? Vishwanatha. He is the Natha of the Vishwa. So he's so large. The Vishwa is so large. How do you view him? From what perspective do you view him? For that, you need the help of Devi. And what is a Devi there called? Visal Akshi. So the Akshi, the eye, Akshi, she gives you the Vishal, the wideness. She gives a broad perspective, the broad vision to understand Visal Akshi. Similarly, all of us are what? The earth is what? All of us are Rudra. Rudra meaning all of us are moving. All of us are dynamic. And when we move, we also make sound. Different levels. Earth also, when it moves, makes sound. The sun, when it moves, makes sound. Every body, animate and inanimate, when they move, they make sounds. So that is Rudra. And this universe is full of such micro to macro bodies of different sizes which make the bulk of the universe, constantly moving, making enormous sounds all over. So that is the Rudra. And how do you see that Rudra? How do you channel the energies from the Rudra? So you have need an Akshi for it. So that's why you have the idea of Rudraksha. There's a film anyway, which you can all watch it. It's also there in our book, Understanding Shiva. So that is the antenna, the channeling, the viewing perspective. So for seeing Vishwanatha, you need the support of the grace of Visalakshi. For recognizing the idea of Rudra, you need the idea of Rudraksha.
And
So to
actually,
my-
it is very beautiful. It's beautifully said that it is only with this Rudra, this body, can you realize and understand that Rudra, which is the cosmic body as well. So you need this Rudra to be in sync with that Rudra to be able to realize and understand that Rudra. And the idea of the third eye itself is to go beyond what you physically see. See, when like Secret of Veda, Sri Aurobindo, he says, your first is to realize, Sampadananda Mishra ji said this so beautifully, very concise, that big book with so much of very beautiful English, and what Sri Aurobindo ji has said, he brought it out very nicely in just 4 points. And the first point where he says that you first have to realize that there is a truth behind what your eyes are seeing. And Shiva represents that. While he is the god for Panchabhuta, and you have temples for Panchabhuta, the primordial elements, which is the manifested form, he is also the reason and the layer behind that manifested form. And that formless forms and the formlessness itself, you need yet a different kind of an eye to see that, to realize those kind of states. And that is what this third eye represents. And that is what this Trishul is all about.
My last question, of course, for the benefit of audience, please check out the channel of Acharya D.K. Hari and Acharya D.K. Hemahari. I somehow feel the word Acharya is better word than doctor. I'm sorry, but I feel it's a much better word, because we also cannot use the lexicon of people who are borrowing knowledge from us, so please, you can visit bharatgyan.com, and I think I'll do a little bit of listing of all the channels, what they describe, and I'll share it through the Global Hindu Council mailing list for everybody's benefit. My last question, yes, thank you so much, Ayushji, for sending this. My last question is to all the devotees of Shiva. Now, the devotees of Shiva come in all forms. They would be found in workplaces. They could be found in Himalayas, in forests, corporate forests, all kind of forests. What are the 3 things you would suggest to the admirers, devotees, or those who want to experience Shiva? Any 3 main things that you would think that they can do along with their daily routines? 3 simple things for young people. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, here again, for these 3 points, I would like to use what Sampadananda Mishra ji said about the fight between the Deva, Asura, and allow the Deva inside, right? He said about that point, and that constant fight between the dualities, try to take the positives. So far we have actually, from people who have been outsiders to the civilization and the thoughts, we have always been painted pictures about Shiva, which talk about certain aspects, which is there no doubt in Shiva Tattva. He has to destroy to regenerate, and that is the nature of creation. All that is different, but we are ignoring or we are not aware of the auspiciousness in Shiva, which is why he's called Shankara, one who does good. We say Shankar, Shankar so many times, but we don't understand and correlate Shiva, auspiciousness, and Shankara. And all the stem for auspiciousness is good thoughts. So unless you have good thoughts, good things will not manifest. So one is to, so if you say three things with connection with Shiva, then these are the three main things. First, be aware that there is a lot of auspiciousness in this universe. The universe itself manifested because of this auspiciousness. Second, you have to have good thoughts for this manifestation to happen, which is why this civilization has been practicing Sankalpa. Sankalpa is to be able to create with good, imagine and create. So allow for creation to happen with good thoughts. So that is your second point. The third point, again, which dwells on the aspect of positive in Shiva, the auspiciousness, is the usage of the word that our ancestors would say. They would use the word Shivaste Pantanaha. That means, may your ways be auspicious. So when we would bid people farewell, we wouldn't say,
We didn't say goodbye.
we would say Shivaste Pantanaha. So wherever you're going,
Panta, your path.
your path, may they all be auspicious, may good things happen to you. So if we start thinking of this every time we see somebody, we wish them well, all of this is going to generate that positive feeling and for all the good to happen in this universe. So we will really be a very Shiva
Each one of us.
civilization.
So
And we'll be Shiva ourselves.
that's which is what we are all auspicious people. So as a concluding remark, as she said, no, the idea is when you wish somebody well and sort of say goodbye to them, what you say, Shivaste Pantanaha. May your ways, may your paths be auspicious. Look at the beauty in it. The meaning is so nice.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Ji.
Jatinder ji.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, yes,
Thank you.
hand
Ji.
up.
Oh, Jatinder ji, yeah, we can
Is
have
that
one
a
question
question?
from Jatinder ji. Yes, Jatinder ji,
Yeah.
if you have a question, but थोड़ा छोटा question रख पाएंगे, थोड़ा late चले. Jatinder ji, हाँ बोलिए please. Let me unmute.
So can I add one thing just to?
हाँ जी, sure.
So, like the focus here has been by D.K. Hariji and Hema Hariji with regard to Shiva as the most auspicious. So from the language point of view, the very word Shiva, the etymology of the word, the derivation of the word is, it comes from that root sound Shyai, Shyati. Shyati means that which destroys, Ashubhan, all that is inauspicious, all that is negative, all that is dark and falsehood. So he destroys that. Shyati Ashubhan iti Shiva.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
So,
you, Ji. It's beautiful.
My question to all your scholars is, give us 3 simple means, because it's a time when everything happens through the body, unlike in Satyug when everything happened probably from the conscience, and we are falling from conscience into mind, and from mind we fall into the body. So give us 3 things that you think, 3 simple rituals that will keep the devotees close to Shiva. We can in the meanwhile, while you think, we can have the question from Jitendra ji, who's joined us probably from Pakistan. Jitendra ji, one second. Jitendra ji, हाँ आप ask to unmute. Okay, कुछ problem आ रहा है जितेंद्र जी आपको unmute करने में?
So no problem, Vashish ji, if he has questions, you can always share it with us later, which we'll be glad to share with him. or you can give him our email ID. We'll be glad to always discuss with him. Always available, okay, for all. So you can share our email ID. We'll always be glad to interact with them, give inputs, and take it forward from there. Okay.
जी बहुत बहुत आभार. Thank you for joining. Thank you for taking us little close
Thank
to
you.
Mahadev, to Mahakal. Har Har Mahadev.
Har Har Mahadev.
Thank you. Shivaste Pantanan.
Shivaste Pantana. I'll try to remember that जी. जितेंद्र जी, आई एम सॉरी, आपको अनम्यूट करने का कोशिश कर रहे हैं बट अनम्यूट नहीं हो पा रहा है. सो आप अपना सवाल, यू कैन राइट डाउन योर क्वेश्चन इन द चैट बॉक्स. Now we will be joined by our Hindu warrior, Manushi Sinha दीदी. दीदी, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है. शुभ नववर्ष 2080 विक्रम संवत, और आपके सभी संकल्प पूरे हों.
नमस्ते, नमस्ते वशिष्ठ जी, DK Hari and Hema Hari ji, Sampadananda Mishra ji, and everyone here, all my Dharma brothers and sisters.
थैंक यू जी.
हिंदू नववर्ष की आप सबको ढेर सारी शुभकामनाएं.
तो
मैं DK Hari जी और हेमा हरि जी की बात जो सुन रही थी शिवा के बारे में, तो मैं इसमें जो हमारे परिवार के साथ जो शिवा के रिलेटेड जो हुआ है, मैं आई वुड लाइक टू शेयर. So we have a Swambhu Shivalinga in our Assam home, and we have a temple erected dedicated to him. So I was around 12 or 13 years old when, while our mother was working in the kitchen garden, or planting of vegetables, she came across a stone while using the instrument, that equipment, and she threw the stone away. Then at night, she had a dream. Our third sibling and Ma were working in the garden then, and both of them saw the same dream. Shiva appeared in the dream and said that, why did you throw me away? That stone was me. So you place me at the base of your Tulsi plant and worship me. And then next day, we consecrated. The ceremonies were done, and since then we started worshipping that Shivalinga. And later on, when we build a new home, Shiva again appeared in our dreams and said, will you still continue keeping me under the Tulsi plant, or will you also build a temple for me? Because you are shifting to a new home, even I want a new home. So again, we built the Shiva temple then. And on the day that the Shivalinga was to be shifted to the Garbhagriha, every one of us saw almost the same dream. And even my Buaji, who stays several kilometers away, it's at 12 hours distance from our place, even she saw in her dream about all the gods, Devi, Saraswati, Vishnu, Lakshmi, and all the pantheon of our Hindu deities. They have come to be part of the ceremony. And the largest of all the Devi Devatas was Ganesha. And all my siblings and I myself and my mother, father, they all saw the same dream. And worshipping continues there in the temple. Now, my father and mother, they are no more. And we, five siblings have shifted bases from there. But we go twice or thrice every year. We have a Pandit Tainji who are taking care of the temple. And that's my story about Shiva, the connection of Shiva.
That's a wonderful story. So I think Shiva Mahadev wants to stay close to you and keeps you inspired. This is a beautiful story. Ji.
Like here we have this Kawar Yatra, where devotees go to Haridwar and bring water from the place. They walk back to their home. So even Kawar Yatra happens in our place also in Assam. So when I was not even a teenager, I did the Kawar Yatra thrice, barefoot, walking 70 kilometers, around 75 kilometers, taking water from the Brahmaputra
That's
and
very
pouring,
interesting.
yeah, taking water from the Brahmaputra and pouring it in the Siddham in Tinsukia.
So also that reminds me, Manoshi ji, I'm doing some project on Ramayana, which is about different aspects of Ramayana, or parts of Ramayana in different parts of the world, like where different characters in Ramayana come, because Ramayana is global. I have been recently connected to somebody in the Siberian region of Russia, where people told that some aspects and some characters of Ramayana are from Siberia. So it's very interesting to know that Kawad Yatra is there in Assam too, because where I come from in Haryana, it's very popular. And I have a feeling that if Kawad Yatra could be in Assam, 2000 kilometers away, it could be also having its origin in Pakistan, maybe in Europe. And that's what is left for us to figure out as we go to trace the origins of our own dharma and in process get enlightened. I also see Shri Rajvedam ji has joined us. He has been there. So we will also take his inputs because of such a rich knowledge that he represents. Namaskar, Rajvedam ji. Let me try to see if I can unmute you to just say namaste.
Namaste, Vashishji. Yes, I joined a little late, but I heard the tail end of Sampadananji's talk. Namaste, glad to be here.
Ji, my pranam to you. So we will definitely have your inputs, because Manoshi Didi is the third person in the knowledge session. And I'm very glad that you are here so that you can summarize the knowledge session before we go to the projects which are.
Oh, I'm only an onlooker, so please don't make me a participant. I'm only listening. I wouldn't want to interrupt your program, so please excuse me on that.
There is no interruptions. We are all onlookers. Some are standing at a higher pedestal, and those who are standing at the higher pedestal, like Sampadananji, Dr. Hariji and Madam Hema Hariji and Manoshi ji and yourself, you are also onlookers, but we are coming from below, and what you can see from ahead, you can guide us.
I hope so.
So we are going ahead with Manoshi Sinha ji. She's going to talk about the valor of dharma, of Hindu dharma, that such rich legacy has been protected by equally let's say enlightened scholarly warriors, those who went beyond the boundaries of physical capacities to stand between the disciples of dharma and the forces trying to destroy it. So Manoshi ji, kindly shed light. Manoshi ji is the author of Saffron Swords 1, and her second book is also coming. I think it's already there.
It's already released. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
wonderful.
I would just like to add something about the Vikram Sambat era. So Raja Vikramaditya of Ujjain, he started the Vikram Sambat era in 57 BCE after defeating the Shakas. The Shakas were ancient nomadic Iranians, and they were also related to the Scythians. So Shakas, they were also known as Indo-Scythians. So they followed. So they were also followers of Hinduism and Buddhism, besides following their Greek rituals and customs. So now many people, like when I posted something on social media, then many of our own people, they say that Vikramaditya is an imaginary character, he didn't exist. And so if he didn't exist, how come we all have read about the 7 Navaratras of Raja Vikramaditya? And he defeated the Shakas. After that, he started this Vikram Sambat era. So inscriptions, Silalekh jo hai, inscriptions at various regions across the country have this Shaka Sambat era and Vikram Sambat era inscribed. जो भी inscriptions, whatever inscriptions are available, वो 8th century, 9th century से है. These are available from 8th to 9th century. And when our own historians they talk about Varaha Mihira, who was a court jewel, who was one of the Navaratnas of Raja Vikramaditya, they attribute the timeline 6th century for him. But if Varaha Mihira lived in the 6th century CE, how come he was a court historian? He was one of the Navaratnas of Raja Vikramaditya in BCE time. So there is a lot of distortions on the chronology of India, especially early medieval period and ancient period. So there is a book, Chronology of India by Vedir Aryaji. He has written in detail about these distortions, and he has given a genealogy of all the dynasties, right from the Vedic era till the medieval era. And he has shown the distortions that happened with our timeline from the Vedic era till the early medieval era. So according to Arya, there is a chronological error of 660 years in the early medieval period and the last phase of BCE. This is because of the confusion between the Saka era and the Sakanta era. According to Aryaji, the Saka era commenced in 583 BCE and Sakanta era in 78 CE. So this chronological error of 660 years have led to the distortions of timeline in early medieval period in the late years of BCE. So whatever the distortions, this needs to be corrected, and it will take time. Because when
your voice is breaking in between. Can you please check?
Yeah, definitely. Am I audible now?
Yes, this is better.
So the Mahabharata, the Ramayana and Mahabharata events are considered mythology. No timeline has been attributed to Ramayana and Mahabharata events. According to world chronology, the Vedic era started somewhere around 1500 BCE till 600 BCE, which is again very much distorted. So according to Vedir Aryaji and many more scholars who have worked a lot on the chronology, especially on Ramayana and Mahabharata events, the Vedic era started at least from 15,000 BCE. And we all know when the Mahabharata events took place, when the Mahabharata war took place, some 5,000 to 5,500 years ago. So it's a long discussion. We will cut it short. So
yeah, so I would like.
Is not an imaginary figure. Raja Vikramaditya is not from Ujjain, from the Malawar dynasty. He was not an imaginary figure. He was there, and the Vikramaditya title was used by so many kings after that, especially after their victories in battle against the enemies. And that's why there is confusion among the historians, like who Raja Vikramaditya of Ujjain was.
Okay, so thank you so much for this heads up on Raja Vikramaditya ji. I would like to ask you one question, Roshi ji. tell us about the most favorite women warrior character that you have researched.
Yeah, it is.
I would
Now
like
it is
to just take
yeah,
this.
I would like to wish everyone a happy Chaitra Navratri. Or एक Mula Gabharu, not many of us have heard about Mula Gabharu from Assam.
Ji, ji.
So Mula Gabharu was the wife of Ahom general Phasengmung Borgohain. When the Bengal Sultanate ruler, he sent his forces to Assam to invade Assam, the Ahoms, they gave a stiff resistance. Then there were several battles that were fought, and in one of the battles, the Ahom commander Phasengmung Borgohain, he attained Virgati in the battlefield, and this demotivated the Ahom soldiers, and they started running away from the battlefield. And when Phasengmung Borgohain's wife Mula Gabharu, she was never trained in warfare. She was just a housewife. When she heard about the Virgati of her husband and about the Ahom soldiers moving away from the battlefield out of fear, what she did, it still inspires everyone in Assam. And as no one knows about her in other parts of the country, so like many of who have read the Saffron Swords, or those who have read history in detail, they will definitely know who she is. So Mula Gabharu came riding on a horse with a flashing sword in her hand, and she reached the battlefield. She killed 2 lieutenants of the Sultanate, Bengal Sultanate forces, and several more soldiers before attaining Virgati in the battlefield. So when she came to the battlefield, seeing her, the Ahom soldiers, they were motivated, and they again started their warfare exploits with renewed vigor. And ultimately, the Ahoms won this battle.
This is around which year are you talking? Which year is this?
16th century. 16th century.
16th century. Wonderful, wonderful. So, do you think these stories are told in the school books anywhere in the country?
Like, I have never read about her in my history book, though I studied in Assam.
Okay, so yes, this is the plight and this is the paradox, that whatever great has happened in this country, we have been kept away from that great.
So I would like to...
Those realized people.
Yeah, this story is described in a chapter in detail in book 1 of Saffron Swords. So there are 52 episodes of valor in book 1 and another 52 episodes in book 2. And the timeline is between 8th century till 1947. And the warriors covered are the Veer Viranganas from each and every corner of Bharat. So
That's
from book
amazing.
2, I would like to narrate the story of Rani Bhavashankari from
Sure,
Bengal,
sure.
who ruled the Puri-Shrestha kingdom of Bengal.
Mhm.
She was a contemporary of Akbar.
Mhm.
So the war strategies and the war strategies she followed was hardly followed by any other ruler of India. So she defended each and every boundary of her kingdom, even the river boundaries.
Mhm.
So she made it compulsory for each house to from a member from each house to be a soldier in her army,
Mhm.
and it was compulsory. So for any foreigner like the Pathans, they invaded her kingdom, she defeated them. And there is an incident when she was meditating in front of a Shiva temple. suddenly the Pathans, they attacked her in the forest where she was meditating. And while meditating, because she was aware that there were enemies and they would attack her anytime, and she knew that the enemies knew about her whereabouts. So she was always dressed for battle. So when she was meditating, she was dressed in warrior clothes. And so when she was attacked, she fought along with her women soldiers. There were women soldiers around the temple when she was meditating there, worshipping Shiva. When the battle took place, she won that battle in the forest. And there were traitors in her court also. Her minister, her chief minister, turned out a traitor. He sided with the Pathans, and jointly they attacked the Rani, because the minister wanted to be the king of Bhurishreshta. But again, the Rani defeated the joint forces. But she did not, she demoted that minister to a lower rank, but she did not oust him from the army. So this is her story. And even Akbar, who during that time sent his forces invading, like attacking kingdoms, the rulers who did not accept to be vassal rulers under the Mughals, they were attacked. So, but Akbar did not dare to interfere into the affairs of Rani Bhamashankari.
That's really wonderful. So, Manoj ji,
this is described in detail in a chapter in book 2 of Saffron Swords.
Great. So I think Saffron Swords is actually a book. We are looking for heroes on television. We have so many heroes because we have a history that far outnumbers, even in the numbers, we far outnumber every other history probably. And it's great because when I first heard about Saffron Swords, the book probably almost 4 years back, and I have been fortunate to be in touch with Manoshi Sinha ji. So Manoshi ji, what has been your inspiration? Is it a divine inspiration, or it's an inspiration to bring the culture up, or it's a mixture of both? What drives you to write about these heroes is a question that everybody must think, and maybe some of them get inspired maybe to intern with you, to work with you, or to start something. So if you can briefly tell us, what is your source of inspiration?
Yeah, there are two contexts in this. The first is that I grew up listening to stories of valor about our warrior ancestors from my father, and also stories from our epics, from the Puranas, and slokas from the Bhagavad Gita, and all. I listened to all of this from my father. So before I started going to school, I knew about most of these warriors, and I used to like recite poems by Rabindranath Tagore instead of the usual Baba Black Sheep and all. So, and when I grew up and when I saw that these stories of valor are not there in the textbooks, I questioned my father, and he said, "Now you will not understand now. Later, when you grow up, you will understand." So later on, when I started visiting places and started working on researching on this, then I realized that these stories need to be told to the masses, because what we have read in our academic books is a story of defeats, of losses, of surrender, that our ancestors did not fight back, that they easily surrendered. And just 1 minute. And we have read in detail about who Mahmud of Ghazni was, who Qutbuddin Aibak was, who Babur was, Akbar, Aurangzeb, even the Britishers, Lord Dalhousie, Lord Curzon. We have read in detail about them. So if you ask anyone from across the country, anyone, if you ask them to write a 1 full page or 2 pages about Akbar, they will write in detail. But if you ask them, for example, in the South, ask them to write about Rani Velu Nachiyar or Kapaya Nayaka, who defeated the Turks along with the help of 75 Nayakas. His story is there in his story of valor is also inscribed. It's there in the inscriptions besides the literary references. So no one can tell who Kapaya Nayaka is, who Rani Chennamma of Kellari, who Rani Chennamma of Kittur, and where and who, like I had told about the story of Rani Bhavashankari and about Mulla Gavaru. So ask anyone, even from Assam, ask about Mulla Gavaru, not many will be able to tell. Ask in Bengal who Rani Bhavashankari is, no one, hardly anyone will be able to tell. So similarly, it's not about the regional history, because if we are reading about each and every student from across the country are reading about Mughals who were concentrated only in the northern belt. They couldn't expand their empire in the entire northeast. They couldn't expand their empire in the south. So they were concentrated in the northern belt. And wherever they went, they were defeated. And later on, the Marathas, they defeated them very badly. After that, their empire broke. So what is this that we have read in our history books, that they have ruled the whole of India?
Thank you so much, for sharing light on this. And I hope that your work keeps inspiring all of us. And thank you for joining in spite of your really busy schedule. And you said that, I mean, so many things are happening on your end, Manoshi ji. And especially, that she's been writing about women warriors, which I don't think I would even know one of the names that is mentioned in our books, is how much detached we are from our own history. But Manoshi Didi, thank you for joining us. And
it's not only about women warriors, it is also about the male warriors too.
I have an inherent tendency to create and highlight what is not much highlighted. So yes, but definitely about all the warriors which we should be able to count on our tips. Unfortunately, in Delhi, we have the names of buildings and streets behind people we should not even be thinking or remembering. So maybe I think that the warriors from Manoshi Didi's books, that compilation should be dotting the streets and buildings of Indraprasth, Mahadev Wills. Thank you, Didi, for joining us.
Thanks.
Ji, thank you for joining us in spite of all your commitments. So now we have the end of our knowledge sessions. Of course, there are 3 projects: Dharma Wiki, Samarkaya, and Temples of Bharat, and Hindupedia. 4 of these will be discussed. Right now, we have a live performance from Divya Lakshmi ji, who's joining us from Bangalore. Divya ji, can you hear us?
Yes. Hello.
Okay, great. Namaste.
Good
Namaste.
evening.
Har Har
Namaste.
Mahadev.
Namaste.
Good evening, ji. So, Divya ji.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are very much audible. I had the good fortune, since we've been talking about Shiva in one way or the other. It's so wonderful that this continues. And Divya Lakshmi ji, what are you going to you're going to sing a prayer in Bhagwan Shiv's name. So can you tell us a little bit about the origin of this chant, this mantra, and a little bit about yourself, and then we can start.
Absolutely. So I'll start with myself. My name is Divya Lakshmi. I'm working as a management consultant in Bangalore. And above and beyond management or business, music is my true passion. And there is this, as to the origin, I'm not very sure about the origin, but there is this one song from the movie called Solo, which stuck with me throughout the years. And recently, during the Mahashivratri, I had the privilege or the blessings to sing on YouTube. And I'd like to sing in front of all of you the same today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is one of the good things is that, our young Hindus are fascinated by jobs in management. Steve Jobs and Apple used to be icon of all the management students. It was a pleasant surprise to know that Steve Jobs ji, he visited Neem Karoli Baba's ashram in Uttarakhand. And I always used to think that if I have a student who wants to do management in some foreign countries, also Vasudha is one. I always wanted to know that if your best, icon is Steve Jobs, you have to think why Steve Jobs will come to Neem Karoli Baba. Neem Karoli Baba didn't speak English. Steve Jobs probably didn't speak Hindi or, Kumaoni or Sanskrit. And much beside that, Neem Karoli Baba had left his earthly body before Steve Jobs arrived, and then Steve Jobs was still in front of the ashram, gaining blessing, gaining direction, gaining that spiritual grounding which Bharat offers. And that's why we should be all the more grateful to our Ishta Dev and Devis for being born in Bharat as Bharatiya. So, Dhanyavad, Divya Lakshmi ji, please, we are all ears for you. After this, I will play a recording of a 4-year-old young Hindu. That will be a recording followed by Divya ji. So, please, Divya ji.
Ragauram Karuna Samsara Saram Bhujage Hridaya Sahitam Om Shiva Om Shiva Om Shiva Om Shivaya Vishweshwara Shankar Om Shivaya Vishweshwara Shankar Jaya Maheshwaram Jaya Mahesh Girizambar Jaya Uma Maheshwaram Har 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 Mahadeva Jaya Shambho Natara Om Namo Namah Shivaya Vishweshwara Shankara Om Namo Namah Shivaya Vishweshwara Shivaya Vishweshwara Thank you.
Ji, namaste. So, as we say, as Mahadev wills. So I could enjoy with our audience the vibration, the grace emanating from you, but unfortunately the music and the voice was lost in between. So what I will do,
Sorry.
no worries, no worries. We will do something later on. But thank you for being there. I think it's late for for many people, but this is the only time we have. So thank you for joining us, and we will be, if we would request, we can put all our performances on the Global Hindu Council YouTube channel, because there are few
Absolutely.
performance. Yes, yes. And so thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
yes, it's an honor. And Har Har Mahadev, thank you for taking us back to Shiva a little bit more. Ji, ji. If you have time, yeah, we can probably have a session later again, if you can check with the mic. So we will quickly begin with our project session. And we have Dharmaviki team and we have Hindupedia team. Dharmaviki team is in Mumbai. Hindupedia team is in US. And our listeners are all around us. So kindly share if we are ready to start. From Ashish.
Sorry, what are you asking to share?
Ji, namaste. So we will quickly see Ashish ji, although in the order you were earlier, but Krishna ji has meetings in coming time. So Krishna ji, namaskar, and thank you with kind agreement of Dr. Pandey ji, whose schedule is as busy as I could see when I met him. So yes, we can actually have a little bit of interactive sessions, and probably we can build upon these projects, because our Hindu projects, they are in isolation. Unless you don't meet the people, it will be in a certain segment of scholarly work, and it doesn't cascade to the rest of the world. So yes, Krishna ji, namaste, Jai Shri Krishna. And kindly, if you can just give us a like a heads up on Hindupedia, why you got inspired and what is Hindupedia about, and we can take 10 minutes with you.
Sure. And you can hear me all right.
Yes, I can hear you. Perfect.
Okay. So I put a few slides together just to explain. Now, looking at the number of folks in the room, I know some of the folks here are familiar with our work, and for others, they may not be familiar with our focus and our breath, even though they may have heard of us. So we'll go into a little bit, but precisely why do we exist? Why did I create Hindupedia in 2007? And then what do we do today? And so I did a little bit of a backflash, and then I came back forward in time and started just anchoring on the situation as it was in 2007 when I started Hindupedia. And the first picture, I don't know if it's familiar to any of you, is from the Indiana Jones movie, where he goes to India and they eat monkey brains. Forget this was Om Puri, Amrish Puri, that was the bad guy in this particular movie. but it's a trope that I ran into as a child in middle school, where one of my friends watched the movie and said, "Hey, do you eat monkey brains, Krishna?" Knowing full well that I was vegetarian, because this is what he picked up about the movie about Hindus. On the bottom, the skulls is from Reza Aslan's CNN documentary on Aghoris. Now, the US as a country is largely unfamiliar with Hindu Dharma and India. And when it is mentioned, it's mentioned in somewhat of a negative light, following kind of all the colonial tropes that you can expect. And in that context, when you have someone, a publication house with the credibility of CNN, present Aghori, it created a lot of problems for the Hindu community, and it created more misrepresentation. And then the third one is something I ran into, I kid you not, 2 days ago. I got a free subscription to Prior, which is from my credit card. So I was like, hey, like, this is cool. Let me go try see if there's anything I can use when going to India this summer. And the first sentence under the trip description is, while it is a myth that all of India can be seen lit on one night from space, what a way to start. Start with a negative statement. This is so common and so frequent, it's not even funny. A few years ago, my son asked for a book, a puzzle / mystery book about India from National Scholastic, who some of you will know is a major publication in the US for not textbooks, but general children's educational books. And similar to this, every section on India started with a subtle negative statement. And it creates a lasting impression on impressionable children, but here on everyone else. And there are so many more examples of it. I just left these 3 and these 4 as a way to start. But it's not just popular media. These are real pictures from real textbooks about Indian Hinduism. This is how we're portrayed as a people. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. And we're also mocked in these books, like the swans on people's heads, or if we measure wealth in cattle, then look at how rich these people are, right? Or this child seemingly eating cow dung because he's so hungry. Now, this is taught in the 6th and 7th grades in the context of teaching world religions and world history. And when it comes to world religions, and they talk about every other religion, those religions can do no wrong. They're amazing, they're great, they're perfect. But Hindu Dharma can do nothing right, and ancient India can do nothing right. And if we go a little bit broader and look at academia, it has a history of anti-Hindu scholarship. Rather than going into the content here, just focus on the impact. I have talked to so many scholars over the last few years, and they get bullied. If they want to do any substantial work in the fields that we're talking about that impact the narrative, they lose their jobs. They may be pushed off of the tenure track, or worse. Many of the academics that I talked to, or some of the academics I talked to, are close to the end of their career. They don't care anymore, or they've already gotten tenure, and they're starting to open up. Mid-career academics were willing to support our work as long as their names didn't come out. And some early career academics refused to even write and communicate with me over email, lest their names come out. And that has a direct impact on their career. And that situation is made worse by the fact that as a community, we don't provide them consulting opportunities and engagement opportunities outside of their core academic jobs. And that's not true of academics for other religions. The academic narrative is largely controlled by non-Hindus, and many of them have a conversion agenda. And when we look at it, we just can't recognize it. And this has actually created a stark divide between academics and the community. Now, when we go to the textbooks, we know for a fact that children are bullied for their heritage. And this has some pretty big implications. The biggest one is they become insensitive to Hindu issues and sensitive to other communities. In the course of some of our work, I went to meet with our congressman for California, not congressman, assemblyman. Assemblymen are people in the state's legislature. And I met with two of his assistants. One of them was a Chinese American. The other one was an Indian American. And we were talking about bullying of Hindu children and talking about a bullying report from HAF. And with a straight face, she asked us, do you know if any Muslim children, and this is the only question that she asked us, if any Muslim children are seen as Hindus and therefore bullied? She was worried about bullying of Muslim kids, but really didn't have any questions about bullying of Hindu children whatsoever. It wasn't something that was even on her radar. And many of them make private decisions not to be a Hindu. I've had experiences talking to babysitters of my children from well-meaning Hindu families. One of them, I was driving home and just chatting about these sort of issues. And I found out that she had decided that she didn't want to be a Hindu anymore. Her parents did not know this, and they probably won't till after she graduates from college. Now, if some of these kids go on to express an interest in learning Hinduism in academia, then more likely than not, those Hindus become anti-Hindus. And so we lose a family member and we gain an enemy all at once. This is the world that I saw and I continue to see, and this is the reason why we exist, we being Hindupedia. So if we summarize, academics are one of the core and root causes of bigotry against Hindus, and some of this has actually caused us social problems. Now, when it comes to English language content in these fields, almost all of it has its roots in missionary work. And there's a constant stream of work being written, being published across written and popular media. And this is what we want to fix. So when I look at Hindupedia's primary missions, it's to regain our voice and the narrative in academia. And we started this in 2007 with starting to build the first English-based comprehensive encyclopedia on Hindu Dharma. And then we diversified back in 2018 and engaged heavily in textbook reform, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, and then broadened our scope once again, once we got the terminology right, to focus on decolonizing Hindu studies at all levels. From an encyclopedia perspective, I believe I'm a bit behind the Dharma Wiki team in terms of articles we published. We're at about 6,000 articles, 90,000 monthly users. Those things weren't my primary criteria and Hindupedia's primary criteria, but they are metrics we can measure. The third one is more interesting for us, which is there are 70 plus citations in academic papers referencing Hindupedia. And what this is validation that Hindupedia can be used directly as an encyclopedia in academic work. And our focus is academia, so that's the metric that we really care about and drive towards. We also have anecdotal evidence that it's used to support curricula design. It's used by community members who present Hinduism and Hindu Dharma in schools and universities. It's used by people to arbitrate debates on topics. These things I find out when I run into people and they tell me this is how they've used us. Or in some cases, they somehow find my phone number and call me when Hindupedia is down and complain why it's down. And I ask, why do you care? And then they tell me. In terms of textbook reform, we were key to getting the world's largest publisher of children's instructional materials, Hoffland Mifflin Harcourt, banned from California. They had two programs, and we got both programs banned until 2028. This caused an immediate 14% decline in their stock price. And that was because they were the #1 market share leader in California, and California is a very large market. And over the following 3 years, as the 1,100 school districts of California switched using their materials to someone else's, mostly McGraw-Hill, they continued to tank, and it caused them significant issues as a company. Eventually, this led to them being taken private by private equity investors. As part of that process in getting them banned, we also got the California State Board of Education to agree that specific long-standing content, for example, the CAST dialogue, needed to be removed on the grounds of equity, racism, and non-current scholarship. Following on to that work, we published the book, whose cover you see here, Making Children Hinduphobic. It's the first critical review of a published and approved textbook and its coverage of Indian Hinduism. It had all the problems of Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, but the state board at that approval did not elect to reject all of the materials, because then they wouldn't have any materials to approve for anybody, because all of them had similar problems. And then finally, in this work, we created an alternate framework for 6th and 7th grades. It's alternate to the one that the state board publishes, and it was endorsed by organizations representing more than 1 million Hindus in the US. Acharyas D.K. Hari and his wife, Hemaji, were instrumental in supporting us in this process. So I'll thank them once again here on this forum. This work is ongoing. Some of the more recent work we can't talk about in public, but this gives you a sense of the work that we're doing in textbook reform. And then when it comes to decolonizing Hindu studies, we've made more than 44 conference presentations and more than 10 paper publications on various topics. When it comes to textbook reform, we also took that to a broader academic forums with 13 paper presentations and 2 book chapters that were published. We've had a fairly small fellowship program with one senior fellow that's been on our staff, Professor Kundan Singh, for quite a while. We're now starting to expand that fellowship program, and we are recruiting. So if you know of academics in India that might be interested, please send them my way. This is a small list of works that has come out of this program that have been published in academia on the right-hand side. And we look to grow this over time. So that's a very quick overview of what we do. I promised I would keep it quick, Vashishti, and leave it open for discussion.
This is one of those critical, aspects that our modern day warriors are, working on. We are basically trying to work on those mind spaces of our new generation. And I'm glad that people like Krishna Maheshwari ji, Dr. Pandey ji, Dr. Ganesh ji, they are working on such critical things. Smarachya team, Nambina Shankaran ji is here from Smarachya team. So thank you, Krishna ji, for a brief power-packed presentation, and maybe we can use this forum as a means to know that what Hindupedia is doing and how to take its work to where it's relevant, even to probably connect with the IKS, the Indic knowledge system, or people working because the challenges presented to our civilizations via the textbooks are same in be it anywhere out of India, and in fact within India as well. So thank you for taking time to share all this, and Shubh Navvarsh with a new energy, with new enthusiasm. I wish Hindupedia grows and we are able to take your work further. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Ji. May I welcome Dr. Ashish Pandey ji from Dharmawiki. Dr. Saab, I know that your schedule is really packed and we are delayed, but thank you for joining. And if you can kindly tell us about the Dharmawiki program and also about you. We have also Ayush ji from Temples of Bharat. So we will, in this slot, we will be talking about Dharmawiki and Temples of Bharat. Please, Dr. Saab, namaskar ji, dhanyawad for joining us.
So it so happened about, so thanks very much, Vashishti ji, and the forum and all the people who are involved in this for creating opportunity to for this conversation, for this dialogue. I'll very quickly suggest and share what actually resulted into our concept of Dharmawiki and the overall project of Dharmawiki. And in the process, I will also look forward to have some opportunities for the collaboration in whatever form is possible with other friends. So it so happened in 2016 or 17, few of our colleagues and scholars, Professor Neeraj and Professor Ganesh, in IIT Bombay with Aditya Maheshwari ji and many other students. They started doing some swadhyay, and they were reading this book, Invasion Sacred by Raju Malhotra ji. And a lot of things were pointed out in that book, which are kind of misrepresented in the academic writing, and also they are there in the Wikipedia. So our colleagues tried to change that with all the with all the substantiation, with the references and scientific sources, but still those changes were reverted in Wikipedia. They tried to change things related to Bollywood, and that was not reverted. They tried to change a little bit on the cricket, the changes were not reverted. But whenever they were trying to change something about the Sanatan Dharma, that started getting reverted in 40 seconds, and after a while, their account was ceased. They were not allowed to make any changes. That led all of us to believe that probably we need to have our own integrated knowledge system in the wiki form, and that will act as an authentic source for our conversation, which is scientific but also rooted in our dharma. So that is the journey of that is the starting point of Dharma Wiki. The content about Dharma Wiki follows certain principles like Mool Siddhanta Samaikita. That's the first principle. We look at the integral unity of Sanatan Dharma. So narrative highlight the rich diversity of various traditions, but our emphasis on the integration of the different principles and how they are integrated. Non-translatability. And there are many terms which cannot be translated, so they have to be used appropriately in their own right. Verifiability, parikshanam. Article should contain references to the primary sources, and Rachana Shashanam, that is diligence, and the based on Tantrayukti, which is the ancient way of ensure the logical coherence, which looks at the prayojan, adhikaran, uddeshya, vidhan, nirdesh, ityadi as the basic necessities of any scientific writing. So we follow this principle. This was started in 2017, 18. It was inaugurated in 2019. This is the main page. So in the main page, you can see the main categories: Vedas, Dharmas, Vedanta, and then all this is categorized in the wiki form. So if I click say Yajna, you can look at all the articles related to Yajna, Pak Yajna, Agnihotra, Ashwamedha, Atithi Satkar, in all the meanings and references, and the term Yajna is used. So you can look at that, and then we can, when we click the term Yajna, it is a typical wiki format where people can get the overview, and they can also get into the subject in as much depth as possible. So this gives the evolution of Yajna, the Shakti Sutrani, the Yajna in the recent years. And so you can look at all these detailing is there. We have about 5,000 articles. About 10,000 people visit this site every week, and 15 to 20% are the new visitors. Recently, we have started the Dharma Wiki talks, which which pick up some topics, and they give the scientific interpretations of that. So I can give one example of say sanskaras. This is the recent section created, and you can look at sanskaras not only in terms of their understanding in the as a ritual, but sanskar as socio-cultural and psychological process. So these are the sanskaras page, and all the different sanskaras are mentioned here. And so articles are in Hindi and in Sanskrit. There are some unique scholarly pursuit as well. For example, various Gitas. So if we write Anugita, this is part of the word different Gitas, Vividha Gitas, Vividha Gita. You can get the 50 Gitas which are there in the in our text: Agastya Gita, Bhagavad Gita, Rudra Gita, Ajgar Gita, Ail Gita, ityadi. So we have tried to make it as scholarly and robust as possible, because the purpose is that people who are interested in Indian knowledge system, people who are interested in serious research in the Indian psychology, Indian philosophy, Indian traditional wisdom, they can get the well-referenced material. What happens currently if you are interested in, say, metallurgy, or if you are interested in the sanskaras, or if you are interested in the certain form of Ayurvedas, you have to refer many books. So by compiling the capsule-like articles and giving the key references, we have excellent section on Ayurveda. So a lot of content on Ayurveda is there. Its presence in the Vedas, and if you look at the dhatus in the Ayurveda, so like different aspects of Ayurveda are there, and people can, scholars can straight away use these. All the references they will get, and since it is in the wiki form, people can get into as much depth as they wish to. So this is the introduction. Instead of showing PPT, I thought that I can just show you the Dharma Wiki, take you through the site itself, so that you can get a feel of it. I'll request people to use it and also participate in creating articles. So at the moment, we have the network of about 100 scholars who have contributed few or other more or less number of articles. We are open to rather, you are most welcome if you wish to contribute to Dharma Wiki. If you wish to create page about some research which you have done yourself in any field, we have a good network with the Gurukuls as well. So those there are about 1,000 Gurukuls who have subscribed, who are in the mailing list of the Dharma Wiki, and many of them contribute articles, and they also share the titles and the subjects in the Dharma Wiki. We are also now being extensively used in some of the coursework. So IIT Mandi is supposed, for example, teaches a course on Yoga Sutra. And many references come from Dharmaviki. There's an NPTEL course on yoga and positive psychology, which is subscribed by 8,500 people. Over there also, Dharmaviki is used as a reference website. We are working with the IIT Madras in collaboration with Anadi Foundation to create the video lectures and the teaching content on different Indian knowledge system related topics. And Dharmaviki is part of that. It is a partner in that. So in this process, so this is an overview about Dharmaviki and our scholarly kind of endeavor. Associated project with that is the Temples of Bharat. Ayush is leading that temple, so he can talk about that. But before that, over to Vasishtha if you have any questions or comments on this.
So this is great. Thank you, Dr. Pandey, for sparing out time, and from the mammoth effort that you are doing to course correct the the history, which certain segment. See, we have two segments in the West. Three segments maybe. One who is a great devotee of Bharatiya Gyan, doesn't want to accept it, wants to grab it, usurp it, and reproduce it as theirs, for which they have to detach our people from our knowledge, which I think you are standing as a big rock in the middle of that. The other one is their own produce, who believes that in Bharatiya knowledge is probably not real because it doesn't come from a lab. We know what all can come from a lab in the last 2.5 years. Yeah. So, and the third one is those ardent Shwet Hindus who have pledged to bring back the knowledge because they believe that Hindu Dharma is the Dharma of Dharti, of Prithvi, and eventually they all have to subscribe to it. It doesn't matter, because the knowledge is universal, knowledge is timeless, and once we understand that the knowledge is universal and timeless and interconnected, they will automatically come back to being a Hindu, or to realize that they have always been a Hindu. So thank you for your great endeavors. We will now request Ayush ji from Temples of Bharat. Since we are running quite behind time, I would request not to share slides, but to explain the concept. It's important for the people to engage with the concept, to understand the significance of that concept. But if there is a slideshow, briefly something is there, it's okay. Ideally, we would request it to talk about the temples. Yeah, but okay, fine. I mean, let's try to minimize the use of slides. Thank you.
Sure. Vasishtha, thank you for inviting us to present our work. Namaskar.
You are doing. आयुष जी इतना अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं। 7 लाख टेम्पल्स का जो संग्रह है, हमारी सोच से एक बहुत बड़ा नंबर है। 7 लाख एक बहुत बड़ा नंबर है। उस इंफॉर्मेशन को इन्होंने इकट्ठा किया है, और वी हैव टू यूटिलाइज दिस इंफॉर्मेशन. In fact, a young man gave an idea that he is going to help the Temples of Bharat team to geotag all these temples and to create Instagram badges. So once you go into that area, you tag yourself that I was in this area, because Instagram is where young people are and scholars are not. Unless that knowledge doesn't go to popular platforms like Snapchat and Instagram, our efforts, we will not be able to use a massive platform, and it will be a misutilization of possibilities of social media. Thank you so much. Yeah, somebody, Kavita Shahji, if you have a question, you can kindly put it in the text. So back to Ashish ji, there is some echo from some channel. Yeah, Ayushji, please go ahead. I think the echo is from your side, Ayushji.
I'm only connected to one device.
You're connected to devices, yeah.
No, I'm only connected to one device. Is it still? Let me know.
Yeah, I think the echo is coming from your device. But I mean, just keep the slideshow to 3 or 4 important slides,
Okay.
and better to explain it.
Sure. So is it better now? Or is it still echoing?
The echo is still on, but let's try to manage. Echo is really there, yeah.
Is it fine now?
Yeah, this is better. This is better.
Okay. Yeah. So let me introduce myself first. So my name is Ayush. I'm a PhD student at Computer Science Department at IIT Bombay, and one of my friend Arun Jairamakrishnan, who graduated from design school at IIT Bombay, we started this project presented in the form of a website and app, where we attempt to compile more than 6.5 lakh temples in the country and in the subcontinent itself, including some of the temples from Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka as well. So we started this project around 2.5 years ago through our own expenses and our own motivation. But before that, a lot of research has been went in bringing bringing the data set or the data collection at this stage. So this project was started around in 2017, mentored by Professor Ganesh Ramakrishnan, who is also leading or co-leading the Dharma Wiki effort. So we started this project around 2017, and it took around 1.5 years to collect and this much amount of data where the geo tagged information of the temples is present. So in our database, for example, we can search, and there's a complete UI where people can contribute, that is add, edit, and bring add images, edit content, and there are a lot of users who are using our website. We have more than around 2 lakh page visits per month for the website, with a good session time spent by the users. So for example, for the Mahakal Mandir, they are like, for the Mahakal query term, we have a lot of temples which are of course present throughout the country, and therein we can navigate with by filtering by a state, via the different categories that we have. So this is more or less a basic complete website which lists all the temples, which attempts to list all the temples. And this is one of the database which other websites do not have. For example, Wikipedia has around 10,000 temples in their listings. So, but the scale in our country is very huge. So it's like 4 to 5 times what we have in our database. It has been said by many people that there are more than 3 million temples in the country. So we are not excluding one of the key questions that comes from most of the users is, how do you define a temple? Is it the temple is also, you qualify the temple if it is present under the tree, or is it well structured? How do you define a temple? So it's very difficult. Essentially, it's very difficult because it depends on the faith and how the popularity of the region, of the region around the temple, and so on. So we do not attempt to qualify the definition of the temple. We present as much as possible data that could be feed into the website and could be presented to the users with the relevant information, and serve that as a documentation website more than as a qualifying the temples with respect to leaving the temples out, some temples out or some temples in. So for example, users are like, if you see, these are the recently updated temples that are continuously being edited by the users, as well as they are adding images and improving the information about the temple. For example, you can add and the open timings and close timings of the temples. For example, this temple does not have many edits, but these have edits with respect to images. But if you have a popular temple such as Mahakaleshwar Jyotirlinga, people have updated the open timings and close timings of this temple as well. For example, it is open on all days, 3 a.m. to 11, it should be p.m. And there are different features that are there amenities available? What is the Sthal Puran related to the temple? So the details, the categorization that we have done inside each temple is with respect to what is the Sthal Puran, that is is there any reasoning, or is there any reason that is mentioned in our scriptures, or is this a Swayambhu temple? So is there a story that is related to this temple or not? What are the alankars of the deities? What are the like prayers and benefits that is popular in that temple? The main festivals, because the temple, in addition to the serving as just a pilgrimage site that we have these days, it also used to serve as a socio-economic enterprise where the social related activities as well as economic activities, it's a main key point for the whole village or the region.
Ayushji, I would like to have some additional information here. We have Acharya Chaitanya ji from Bangladesh here, and we have Sanjesh Dhanja ji, who's our Pakistani Hindu brother living in US. So Acharya ji wants to know that can we do this kind of geotagging for temples in Bangladesh also?
Yes, for example, if there are few temples that we have for Bangladesh as well.
Okay.
Yeah, for example, I cannot read Bengali, but the district is like Chittagong district, Dhaka district. So we have the database for the.
Just 1 second. Acharya ji, Jai Shri Ram, this is from your district, Chittagong district. Can you tell us which temple is this?
Yes, let me show. Maybe it's our Gurudev Ashram.
Okay. Can you just click on this? Yeah.
Yes, Chittagong temples.
So this probably does not have much details, but this have only image. So we have.
Can you read this, Acharya ji?
Yes, it is Radha Madhav Mandir from Uttar Chapra. No, this is called Rishidham, Bashkali. Maybe you can. I saw it in an international website before. Maybe it's in your site.
Okay. So just taking a small, break to introduce Acharya Chaitanya ji, because he has to go from here to Dhaka, Bangladesh. He is joining us from Bangladesh. Acharya ji, pranam.
Jai Shri Ram.
I have been associated with Acharya ji for last 3 or 4 years, more maybe, and we've been working to bring about the persecution of or the situation of Hindus in Bangladesh. So I'm thankful that Sanatan Ekta Manch has been a co-organizer for this event, Acharya ji, and by bringing the beauty of temples, maybe we can tell the people wherever we are that we are a culture, rich culture. We don't mean any harm, and also I would take this opportunity to not just to talk about the beauty in architecture, but also to take the voice of Hindus in Bangladesh all the way to US to EU. So if with this forum I can request this, and I can put in touch Acharya ji with anybody who has some idea on this. And also Acharya ji has sent us some recordings of Hindus in Bangladesh, young kids doing chanting, which we will put on the Global Hindu Council website. So Acharya ji, thanks for joining. I'm wishing you a very happy Shubh Nav Varsh. And do you have to, if you have some, something to say, kindly share with all of us. Ayush ji, I'm sorry, we will take a 2 minutes break. Yeah. आपका आवाज क्लियर नहीं है, थोड़ा सा माइक को पास रखिए आचार्य जी.
अभी ऑडिबल है?
हाँ, बेटर जी.
जी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद वशिष्ठ जी, क्योंकि आपने पूरा साल मेहनत करते हैं दुनिया भर के हमारे जो सनातनी योद्धा है उन सभी को एकजुट करने के लिए, और आपकी वजह से आज बहुत सारे पूरा दुनिया भर के जो सनातनी योद्धा है वो सब हम एक साथ आपस में अपनी अपनी जो एक्सपीरियंस है, अपनी जो कंडीशन है, अपनी जो आइडिया है, वो सब कुछ शेयर कर पा रहा हूँ, इसलिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आप।
आपका ज्वाइन करने का और आपका हमेशा सपोर्ट हमें भी करना है। और बिल्कुल ये हमारे लिए मूवमेंट है। ये मूवमेंट बेसिकली ह्यूमैनिटी के लिए है। जो हिंदू के साथ कुछ भी जुड़ा हुआ है वो ह्यूमैनिटी के लिए, वो इस धरती की सस्टेनेंस के लिए, फॉर द कंटिन्यूड एग्जिस्टेंस ऑफ दिस प्लैनेट, इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू बी अ हिंदू, इट डजंट मैटर व्हाट नेम यू कैरी। सो बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आचार्य जी, आपकी यात्रा फलीभूत हो, शुभ हो। और I will also share in the network what Acharya ji does. He braves many challenges. दुर्गा पूजा पंडाल टूट जाते हैं। यहाँ हम मंदिरों की बात कर रहे हैं, तो जो मंदिर टूटे हैं वो इन एक्शन आचार्य जी के सामने, you know, he is a testimony to all that is still happening. So we wish you all the very best and thank you for joining. जी, कुछ आपका संदेश हमारे लिए है तो बताइए, अदरवाइज वी विल गो बैक टू द टॉक एंड जी।
मैं एक बात बार बार एक बार दोहराता हूँ, जो पहले हम लोगों को समझना पड़ेगा कि हिंदू कौन है। जैसे कि आज बहुत सारी चैनल्स, बहुत सारे मीडिया के माध्यम से जो बाहर के जो लोग हैं वो हम लोग को ऐसा ही सिखाता है, हिंदू शब्द जो है वो कोई वैदिक शब्द नहीं है, वो बाहर की विदेशियों की द्वारा दिए गए शब्द है। भारत में रहने वाले हर मजहब के जो लोग हैं वो सब के सब हिंदू है, लेकिन असल में वैसा नहीं है। पहले हम लोग को समझना पड़ेगा हिंदू शब्द क्या है। आज पूरा भारत और पूरा दुनिया में गुरुकुल की कमी है, गुरुकुल व्यवस्था नहीं है, इसलिए हम लोग शास्त्रों का अध्ययन नहीं कर पाने के कारण आज विदेशी द्वारा जो हमारी संस्कृति है, आज जो हमारे नाम है हिंदू नाम, वो भी आज हम लोग उसे छीनने जा रही है। सबसे पहले तो आज ही मैं इसी संदर्भ में जब रिसर्च कर रहा था, मुझे ग्रंथ मिला माधव दिग्विजय, जहाँ पे स्पष्ट रूप में हिंदू शब्द की नाम लिखा हुआ है और वहाँ पे कहा गया है जो लोग ओंकार को मंत्र के रूप में स्वीकार करते हैं, वैदिक जो ऋषि परंपरा है, ऋषि परंपरा के ऋषियों को गुरु के रूप में स्वीकार करते हैं, गौ माता की पूजन करते हैं, गंगा मैया की पूजन करते हैं, जो आतंकवाद और हिंसक जीवों की नाश करती है, और साथ ही साथ छात्र धर्म की जो उद्भाषक है उसी को हिंदू कहते हैं। आज कुछ विदेशी आके हम लोगों से अपना नाम छीन रहे हैं विदेशी शब्द बोल के, क्योंकि आज हमारी जो जीवन प्रणाली है उसमें गुरुकुल की कमी है। सबसे पहले गुरुकुल की व्यवस्था हम लोगों से छीना गया है ताकि हमारी संस्कृति को नाश किया जा सके। और बांग्लादेश में तो, भारत में तो लुप्त हो चुके हैं, बांग्लादेश की बात क्या बताऊं, लेकिन फिर भी हम लोग कोशिश कर रहे हैं बांग्लादेश में भी, चाहे एक दिन के लिए ही सही, हम लोगों को गुरुकुल व्यवस्था की क्लास जो है वो किया जाए। इसीलिए अभी सनातन एकता मंच के द्वारा 50 सेंटर चालू है। कल भी मैं ढाका में एक नया सेंटर चालू करने के लिए आज रात को ढाका के लिए निकल जाऊंगा। तो गुरुकुल व्यवस्था के लिए हम लोग का अभी सबसे ज्यादा फोकस है, ताकि अपना जो बच्चे हैं वो फ्यूचर में जाके उनको कोई ब्रेन वॉश करके, कोई भी जाकिर नायक जैसा कोई भी लोग आके तो ब्रेन वॉश करके उनको कन्वर्ट ना किया जा सके, या फिर क्रिश्चियन मिशनरी द्वारा उनको कन्वर्ट ना किया जा सके। साथ ही साथ लाभ जिहाद के ऊपर जो हमारी बहनें हैं उनको सजग किया जा सके। और साथ ही साथ सभी से एक ही बात अपील करता हूँ, चाहे वो पाकिस्तान पे रहने वाला हमारे हिंदू भाई हो, भारत के रहने वाला, या फिर जो यूके यूएसए कहीं पे भी हो, हम सब पहले सनातनी बने, सनातन एक विश्व हिंदू एकता बने, एक कॉमन प्लेटफॉर्म बने जहाँ से हम लोग एक साथ मिलकर पूरा दुनिया के हिंदुओं के हित के लिए हम लोग एक कॉमन प्रोग्राम साथ में लेके चल सके। और जैसे कि आज पैलेस्टाइन में कुछ होता है, कुछ दूसरी आतंकवादी गतिविधि, उनके ऊपर जब ये एक्शन लिया जाता है, उस समय पूरा दुनिया की जो आतंकवादी सोच विचारधारा रखने वाला इंसान है वो सब एकजुट हो जाते हैं, चिल्लाते भोगते रहते हैं। लेकिन हिंदुओं के ऊपर, भारत में हो या बांग्लादेश में, कहीं पे भी हिंदुओं के ऊपर जेनोसाइड हो जाए या कुछ भी हो जाए, कोई भी हिंदू नहीं सोचते। इसलिए सबसे पहले हम सनातनी बने, सनातन एकता बनाए रखे, और विश्व जो हिंदू भाईचारा है वो बने, इसके ऊपर हम लोग और भी आगे एक साथ मिलकर काम करें। वही आप सभी के लिए हमारे
आचार्य जी, हाँ, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। बिल्कुल आपके मैसेज को मैं हमेशा आगे लेके जाऊंगा। और ये प्लेटफॉर्म सिर्फ एक स्कॉलरली, इट्स नॉट लिमिटेड टू अ स्कॉलरली एक्सरसाइज. Whatever we do, हमारा knowledge unified है, पर हमारे efforts unified नहीं है. Some of us are doing scholarly things, some of us are doing activist things, some of us are doing academic things. All of that has to be interwoven. Interwoven is exactly what we need to do. So आचार्य जी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका जुड़ने के लिए, और बिल्कुल आगे भी इस कार्य को जोड़ के रखेंगे जी. कुछ फाइनल आपके अगर शब्द हैं तो बताइए.
सभी को नवरात्रि और हिंदू नववर्ष की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद जी. If somebody wants to reach to Acharya ji, you can send a mail to us with subject line. Thank you ji. Namaste ji. Ayush ji, we are coming back to you. Thank you so much. Yeah, sorry for waiting, but yes, please.
जी, no problem. Yes. So we have, like, as I mentioned, that we have temples from across Indian subcontinent, spanning Myanmar, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka, and so on. So people are contributing from different areas whenever. So it's an open portal where people can just log in and search for the temples and edit the details, and they can also add new temples if they think that the particular temple is not present in the database. So
how do you ensure that these temples are not by malicious intention? Sometimes the wrong descriptions can be given. So what is the way and checks to take care of that, Ji?
Right. So for example, each temple that is edited by the user, we keep a versioning like similar to Wikipedia, and also keep the track of which user has edited which part of the temple, which part of the temple page basically. So for example, if I go to any temple, I can see the contributors who has made edits to this edits to the particular page, and we keep versions of the different like similar to Wikipedia, where it keeps the different versions when the page is being edited. So we have not seen any malicious attempts till date. However, we have a small team. I mean, me and my friend are there, who are both managing the website with respect to the technical developments as well as the other developments. So we do not have a good enough team, but
while I was speaking to you, I had this idea, and I've just sent a message to Professor Ganesh ji also, that I have an idea of how to get these streams and take the burden off from the core team. So definitely we will be able to talk about this. And
you are lost. We cannot hear you.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, please. So we can give another 3 to 4 minutes for this. But what exactly are you looking to achieve from this is also something that we should talk, because as an IITian, I understand that you look things from a research and scholarly perspective, whereas the narration or what is in vogue is not related to facts. So I want to know, what exactly do you want from the bigger diaspora? How do we take this grand effort that you and your colleague have done to how to expand this grand effort? Do you want to say something on that also? Like, we have 2,000 contributors. Yeah, so we can probably put them all in loop and develop something. Do you have some ideas, please?
Yeah, we need to scale this to, for example, currently the website is in only English. So most of the users that we have come from southern part of India as well as northern part of India and western part. So they may not be well versed with the English. So we would like to first make a website multilingual, because this is the whole basis of the cultural unity, that even while we speak different languages and different way of workings, we are closed or joined together by one entity around the temples. So with respect to technical developments, we need a lot of support. For example, with respect to technical developers who can contribute to develop certain features to augment the website as well as its usability. Secondly, we would like to make the reach of our website a bit larger, because we would like to serve this keep this in a non-profit kind of mode, and keep this as a single point of portal where people can look about the details of the temples. So we need, for that we need some, as you mentioned, that is there any monitoring authority or monitoring who will if there is some malicious or malified intentions being there for editing the temple, or capturing this the narrative. So we need people from that side as well, non-technical side, who can oversee these kind of efforts. So these are the two basic things that we are in urgent need, and we are like managing this in our own capacity at this point, and in a like a part-time mode. So
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. And now we will come to Smrachya. I'll just check with Nambiji and Rutviji. I would also request Ayushji to stay put, because this is we are working somewhere where one territory ends and the other begins, and we can probably just link it together and take both the platforms to a next level. So Ayushji, thank you so much for this massive work. I know as a PhD student, you have a lot to do to contribute to many things at a prestigious institution. Your time is very tightly packed, and I know you're a family man, so Mahadev bless you. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, as a global Hindu and a concerned citizen of the world, which again translates to the word Hindu, if I have to say a concerned global citizen, then only those people are the concerned global citizen who think Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that Vasudha is one family. I think that's a way of saying that we are responsible. So we will do some interesting initiatives together. I want to be more in touch with you. Yes. So yes, Rutviji, if you are available, kindly just say namaste. I will add a little word of introduction about Rutviji. He is, when we first spoke, he was 19. His work is beautiful. Nambiji has joined. He has been supporting the whole project called Smrachya, which is about digitization. Dharma Wiki is also doing work on digitization, so it's a great match. So kindly over to you, Rutviji and Nambiji, please.
Yes, Dhanyavad Vashishtji. And I want to just say, Nambiji has not only been supporting this project, but he's really been, in many ways, the backbone of it as well. I want to just point that out. So his role has been phenomenal. But yes, to briefly introduce Smrachya before I hand it over to Nambiji to go into more of the specific details about the work that we do. The goal of Smrachya, simply put, has been to preserve the full beauty of the Dharmic civilization. And that not only refers to India, and that not only refers to a popular text like, Gita, Ramayana, but it also refers to the lesser known but equally important aspects of our Dharmic history. For example, the lesser known Sanskrit texts, the Hindus that are there in Southeast Asia today, the texts that they are preserved. And our way of being able to preserve this is by digitizing and sorting and making available to the world the texts, the Indic texts that serve as the repositories of our collective civilization. So that is, the mission of Smrachya, simply put. And what I find especially unique about it, compared to, obviously, Government of India has put out its book, archive.org has its collections. One, our collection is privately run by Hindus and for Hindus. Obviously, while, Modi ji and while the others in the government of India are doing a great job, if tomorrow some other government comes into power, those books are all at stake. By making sure that these books are in private hands, that whose only priority really the Hindu community, we can make sure that these texts stay safe as always. In addition, we have also made sure that these books, and I'll let Nambiji talk about this a bit further, but we've also made sure that these books are sorted to the point where people can use them, and people already are actually. We have one researcher that I was actually just talking with yesterday. She's been using our books to research the historical tin trade routes between Bharat and between Vietnam that not only explains the broader connectivity of Akhanda Bharat, but also, assuming her research comes through, has the potential to flip the entire Aryan invasion theory on its head. And in addition, we also have other researchers as well, even some very young ones that are working on things like the importance of Hindustani and Carnatic music in the Alzheimer's disease. So that's really where projects have been going, and we've been expanding as well. We recently talked with one ashram in the Southeast Asia. I won't say where due to safety concerns, but one ashram in Southeast Asia to work on digitizing the books in that country as well. And so that is something that we are very excited to be able to, help fulfill, help grow our library and help expand it to the point that we can make sure that anyone who has any curiosity, anyone who has any questions about Bharat is able to get those questions answered and is able to understand the full true beauty of our Sanatan civilization. So to go into more of the specifics, I'll let Nambiji take over. But yes, dhanyavad from my end and Shubha Gudi Padwa.
I hope you had a good exam. I think Rutvij is, directly broadcasting from from outside the examination hall.
Correct.
Yes, I mean you are a bright young. Great. So yeah. So before, may I ask for Nambiji's permission? Nambiji, how about we take a 3 minutes break, if it's okay? Are you at work right now, or do you have time?
No, we have time. Yeah.
Okay, so I would like to present a small set of performances by some young people. Since I believe that you said that you have time, so I would like to believe that. This is from the Young and Awesome Hindu Pratyogita. As young as all of us and as awesome as Rutvij ji. Yeah. So yeah, I'd like to present this. There are two performances, very short but very interesting. Let me see, how do I present this? 1 second. Show captions. Okay, share screen. Okay, share screen. Okay. This is by a 4-year-old young Hindu. This is as awesome as it can get. Am I audible? Can somebody say if I'm okay? Okay, great.
The audio is not coming.
So yeah, that was a beautiful rendition by Jiva. I think this is as beautiful as Dharma can get. Nambiji, I hope everybody enjoyed this. I definitely did. And I mean, taking the path of Dharma at such young age is such a blissful thing. I think you can start enjoying the bliss from the very beginning. Thank you. Yeah, Nambiji, how was it for you? Did you enjoy?
Yeah, the dance was good. The audio was very feeble.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Was it not good? I mean, Ayushji or Rutviji, could you not hear this audio?
We couldn't hear it at all on our end. It was like mumbling, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is that's unfortunate. Okay. I
Yeah.
will.
Maybe you can share the video later.
Okay, sure. Yeah, let's carry on, please.
Yeah. Namaste, Vashish ji. Thanks for providing us the platform to present the amazing work that everybody's doing. I think I'm very impressed by Hindupedia, Dharma Wiki, Temples.org. And we are probably the smallest of all the projects and also the youngest. Our goal is to collect all the make a digital library of Indic text, right? And then give access to scholars and researchers and those people who need it, right? So let me actually start sharing my screen so that I can give an overview of what we are doing. Do you guys see my screen? Someone can.
Yes.
Okay.
We can see. Handy.
All right. Okay. So this is Smarachya's portal. I mean, it's just a simple page. So if you come here, we present what we are doing and kind of like a overview of our project. The website is called smarachya.space. Let me share it on the chat here. So you can take a look. And the thing is that this website doesn't have anything. It's just a page where how you can contact us and how you can request for access, right? So there are, we are actually trying to collect all the Hindu books, including the manuscripts like copper plates, palm leaves, etc. To access the library, all you need to do is come here and request for this, fill the form, and then it will send an email to us, and then one of us will reach out to you, either me or Rutvij, and then we can give you access. The access is only on need to know basis. It is not for general library where we open up to everyone. At the same time, you can also provide us, if you have like palm leaves or old books, etc. You can please feel free to give it to us so that we will actually collect them and then archive it digitally. And in the long run, we want to distribute them and safeguard them globally. So even if one location is compromised, this will continue to live in different locations. Imagine the Adi Shankara created multiple Shankara Peethams in different parts of India, so that even if one is compromised, it can be revived by the others later on. It happened in Joshimath, so they were able to revive it. Same way, we have to do this in the digital era. So we have this, collect this digital archives of all our texts and then distribute them in different parts of the globe. Even if one part is destroyed, we can always revive it back. So this is the background of this thing. And if you come to our portal, the contact page has the details about the my and Rutwij's email addresses, so you can reach out to us. Now, where do we keep all these texts, right? So we have a different portal for that. and this is hosted by me at this point. So I will show you like only two of these. We have like close to 300 GB worth of books right now. Let me open one of them. This is the Kagada Patrani. I'll open this first one here. And you can see that these are like a handwritten copy of some book, right? So these are like rare copies. So I think Rutvij has been tremendous and instrumental in talking to so many people and collecting them. And we are trying to archive it and safeguard it here. This is one book. And
G, if I can add on very quickly, just to give a bit of context into the Kagada Pattarani, I do have to run, but I want to let people know. One, Kagada Pattarani, simply put, is the paper manuscripts. These manuscripts basically for the safety, right? Because we've experienced so many attacks. Many of the acharyas and pandits in Bharat were hesitant to give the manuscripts directly for the scanning because they were worried someone might run off or something, right? Which is understandable. So what our Karyakarta did, and I have to say, we need to thank the Acharya Ayumaganatha Swami and the monks at the Hinduism Today Monastery for this. They went into these temples and they copied down every single one of these by hand. Every single one of these manuscripts was copied down by hand. That way it could be preserved and wouldn't just decay, but it could be preserved and digitalized for the next generation. So I just want to give pranams to all the people who have put in so much work to be able to build this collection.
Okay. So thanks, Rutvij, for the background. So let me show one more collection that we have. We go to the files here. I found this one is very interesting one. So let me open one of them. So these are actually palm leaves from Tiruvavadurai Adinam. So we have these palm leaves. These are actual pictures of the palm leaves. We have safeguarded it, but next step is to convert them into modern language and then digitize it. I mean, it is digitized as a picture, but I think almost nobody can read it or make use of it, right? So we have plenty of such books in our collection, and a lot more is on the way. We do slowly upload into our server. Right now we have only one instance of this collection. I mean, I have one and Rutvij has another copy, but at some point in time, we would like to have trusted people who can have other copies so we can distribute them globally. And what do we need from you guys, right? I mean, from the larger Hindu community. That's what we have here. So our plans for the future involves having a newsletter that goes out maybe every quarter, what we have done, things, reaching out to more people and supporting researchers. I think Rutvij talked about, supporting some researchers so they can use our collection and then use that for their research. And then digitization. This is our main goal. Like there are so many manuscripts in all parts of India, collect them, not only India, like in Europe, in US and other parts of the world as well. Collect them and safeguard them. And eventually we want to have a kind of a developer conference focusing on these ancient texts. So it can involve things like OCR and automatic translation from one language to other and so on. What do we ask from folks here? Obviously, we are looking for more books to be consumed. If you have books, please reach out to us. And also, if you want to help, please reach out to us. We are always looking for connections and partners. Thanks, Vashish Ji, for giving us a platform to present our project. Finally, these books do take up a lot of digital space. And we don't want to put everything in simple, one cloud like AWS or, we really don't want to do that. We want to digitally distribute across the world, which costs money. So people who have access to physical hardware or cloud infrastructure we are always looking for that. So those are the things that we need, especially from the technical side. Also, we are looking for people who can provide us scanning equipment, that which helps in scanning large amount of documents quickly. There are some tools available, but these are expensive. But that can help do mass digitization quickly. Rutvij, do you have? Is he still there? I think he dropped off. Okay, so this is the, I would say, the conclusion about what we are looking for.
Thank you so much, Nambiji. Thank you so much. You're doing massive work, and I understand that there's a lot more to be done. The more you start doing, the more appears to be needed to done. I understand that thing. So our work is not limited to one lifetime. And that's why it's great to believe that we have multiple lives. It's also great to believe that we are infinite. Yeah, thank you for presenting. And definitely we want to create a setup of people who can support these amazing projects, because at least we have a bunch of people who want to do something, and we need people who've just taken the lead. So thanks a lot for that. Yeah. So now we are almost at the end of our session. I was waiting for Ramayana Decoded team to turn up. I'll try to call. Okay, so I'll try to call. And thank you for waiting. And definitely, it's a great association. We will keep it moving forward. So thank you for joining, Ji. Namaste. Har Har Mahadev.
Namaste, Ji. Good night, everyone. Good morning to everyone.
So, Priyanka Ji, I see that you are here, and we try to play your daughter's beautiful song. If you can play it yourself, it would be great, because there was some audio issue. Priyanka Ji, can you hear me?
Hey, this is Viraj here. I'm Ziva's father.
Oh, namaste, namaste.
Namaste,
Viraj ji,
namaste. Ji. Yeah. Let me see if I can share that. Yeah, okay.
Okay, let me try to put one presentation before, and then we can come back to you.
Sure.
Okay, just
So,
1 minute.
you want a link for that, or you already have it?
No, I thought that there was some challenge in my trying to play it. I have the link, but there was some issue. Let me try to play another, channel, and then we can come back to you. Yeah, 1 second.
Sure.
So this is music has no limitation of language. We have many ways to appreciate the rasas that are there in human life, and one of them is music. And there's infinite probably varieties of music, and now we have a whole bunch of very enthusiastic, dedicated young Hindus talking about the valor of our kings. Here we have Tanay Shah from Bangalore. He's 11. He's a drummer, and he's performing on on the song by Rapariya Balam from Rajasthan, who's making a lot of amazing songs on the rich Rajput valor. So I'll try to play this song, and let's try to enjoy it. I hope the sound plays this time. Is it audible? Can somebody tell if it's audible?
No, it wasn't. And
No.
would you check if sound has been enabled? If you, I mean,
Okay.
sharing sound, you have to click off the share sound, otherwise it won't come.
Oh, I have to click off. Okay.
So when you are sharing screen, it should come in your options to share sound.
Okay, 1 second. This is something interesting. Thank you for letting me know. Remote control apps, record, share sound. Okay, let me try now. Is it audible now? Can somebody tell me if it's audible now?
It isn't
No,
playing
it
and
is
it wasn't
not.
audible so far.
Is it audible now?
No.
No, it is
Just
not.
send. It's not audible. I mean, you can only see the video.
Yes.
Oh, you can only see the video. Okay, let me just try to stop it and play it again. So, okay, advanced sharing options, record to cloud, breakout. Who can see this transcript? It would be great if somebody can guide me how to share the sound, because I can only see share screen and it says all participants can share screen. It doesn't say about sound.
So when you click on the share screen at the bottom, right, where you're going to choose the screen, it shows you different windows from which you can choose. At the bottom, you should see one small share sound checkbox.
Okay. Okay.
Is it appearing there for you?
It's on, yeah.
Okay, then it should play.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on.
Let me try once more. Is it audible now?
Yes, it was.
Okay, great. Let's just do it from the start then.
घटा देवे अगर बात अगर ना की है शूरवीर से नहीं गलती पर सरदार ने महाराणा प्रताप की है।
So that was our dear young Hindu friend Tanay from Bangalore. I hope you could hear it. I hope you could watch it as well. Was it audible?
Yes.
This time? Great, wonderful, wonderful. I hope this was nice. So let me try to play Ziva's, amazing rendition of couple of mantras. She's 4, she's amazing, she's energetic, enthusiastic, and I'm really glad that her parents are also here. So let me do the honors, of playing because I think the last time it was problem from my side.
Namaste. I am in youth.
Is Jiva audible?
Yes.
Okay, great, great. Let's listen to her amazing voice.
Namaste. I am Jiva Dangle. I am in youth and I am 4 years old. Vakatanda Mahakaya Tula Kuti Tamapaba Niviganam Kume Deva Tawakale Tutawada Tawe Bhavantu Tukinaha Tawe Tantuniyamala Tawe Pannani Patantu Makatti Dukabagave Om Bhul Bhuvaswara Tatvati Valeyam Bhagodev Tadimahi Diyo Yo Nah Patodalaya Tava Mangala Mangale Tivita Hadata Dike Tanali Kalam Ki Goli Nayalani Mutute La Devi Tava Bote Tu Chakyo Veya Sangrita Namatkate Nakate Namatkate Namo Namaha La Devi Tava Bote Tu Bhaktiyo Veya Tantita Namatkate 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 Amo Namaha La Devi Tava Bote Tu Makyo Veya Tantita Namatkate 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 Amo Namaha Tubankalochi Kalalam Alogam Anatam Pada Dutlag Buddhi Vinataya Deepak Doti Namatute Diva Diva Deepatka Kani Kundatamoti Ha Divata Panu Namatka Divatate Havativat Divadale Devapati Amtana Matkatava Devapati Gulu Brahma Gulu Vitnu Gulu Deva Manefala Gulu Tak Tak Palapama Tatviti Gale Amaham Tantanchi De Kiyam De Hamaman.
So this was amazing, enthusiastic performance by our young dear friend, and thank you so much for sending this across. I mean, our event would definitely not be complete without this. This is what I want to say. Thanks to you. We have one more performance by another young Hindu. I'll play it. Please, 1 second. So this is called the essence of Ramayana. And I think storytelling is one of the most amazing things. We have great stories. We need great storytellers.
I'm 17.
Can we please check if Tanvi is audible?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Years old. I'm from Dallas. Namaste. My name is Tanvi Goguri and I'm 17 years old. I'm from Dallas, Texas, USA, and I will be talking about the essence of the Ramayana. The concrete foundation of wisdom and compassion, the Ramayana, is like the strings of an instrument, the wings of a bird, the legs of a table, and the trunk of a tree. Just like how the sun illuminates the moon for others to realize its worth, the knowledge of the Ramayana also acts as the bright light that beautifies the inner self. Knowing the essence of this epic will allow our mankind to flourish, to be even more confident, intelligent, and benevolent. The essence of the Ramayana starts off with the most popular phrase that they say throughout the epic, Prana jaye par vachan na jaye. This saying reveals the significance of keeping a promise and how far one can go to fulfill their oath, like Sri Rama displayed by accepting a 14-year exile period. Along with Rama, Sita and Lakshmana accompanied him to the forest, which shows the importance of relationships. Rama and Lakshmana traveled together in sorrowful moments without ever leaving each other, which is how they became the ideal example for outstanding brothers. Mata Sita's role in the Ramayana helps us understand that we should never run away from problems and should face them with courage. She stood by Lord Rama as his strength at all times, displaying how troubles have absolute no effect on relations. Urmila became an example for a supportive wife who decided to help her husband even though she wasn't with him by sacrificing everything and sleeping for 14 years so that Lakshmana could stay awake at all times to protect Rama and Sita. Also, Hanuman and Sugriv became the example for friendship because they never left each other's side during every situation. The Ramayana teaches us how to become a leader like Sri Rama. He managed the Vanara Sena by knowing each member's capabilities and strengths. In order to defeat Ravana and free Devi Sita, Lord Rama chose to ally Sugriv, who was facing the same problem of rescuing his wife from his brother Vanu, knowing that Sugriv would be a powerful and trustworthy ally who could assist him. This management lesson will help us in choosing the right person for the right task so that the job is accomplished. To continue, they also decided to send Hanuman across the ocean to Lanka for information about Mata Sita for the same reason. Since Lord Hanuman has the ability to cross the ocean, full of many obstacles, they all knew that he was the only one who could finish the task without delay. Organization and planning are other traits that branch off of leadership skills, and we can see this in the Ramayana when the monkey army planned to build a bridge to reach Lanka. This situation shows out-of-the-box thinking to shape out the plan, proper communication to execute the plan, and lastly, encouragement for the team for the successful completion of the plan. Next, having a vision combined with motivation is like a key that can be used to open any door you wish for. Lord Rama had the aim to free Devi Sita, and he not only reconvened without proper footwear, food, or a GPS, but he also defeated the powerful king Ravana. This shows that vision is the vehicle that can drive you to your destination, while motivation is the fuel. Nobody would expect a prince living in the jungle to defeat Ravana, the powerful ruler of the world. But this happened to display to the world that good always wins over evil, no matter how capable it is. This allows us to be principled and build a positive character that will support us throughout our life. Going back to being motivated while having a strong willpower, we can recognize the extent to which one can go for their vision to come to life. When Meghnad's weapon injured Lakshmana, Lord Hanuman was asked to bring the Sanjeevani herb to restore his energy. After reaching Meru, Hanuman couldn't differentiate between the diverse plants present there, but his motive to rescue Lakshmana is what induced him to lift the entire mountain and carry it all the way to Lanka. From this circumstance, we can interpret the true connotation of the phrase, where there is a will, there's a way. Like Hanuman, if we also start finding our own solutions to our problems, then that mountain of burdens will also seem to be very convenient. On the other hand, if we choose jealousy, anger, and ego as our fuel for arriving at our destination like Ravana did when he didn't think twice before abducting Mata Sita, the result of our actions will not be fruitful. In the epic, Rama teaches us to treat everyone the same without looking at their caste or status, from the citizens of Ayodhya to Taraka to Shabri. He was equal with them all. If we follow this policy of being alike with everyone, we can spread even more happiness and enhance growth in the society. Also, another theme that can be grasped from this ocean of values is the idea of loyalty. We all know about Hanuman's loyalty, where he showed selfless devotion while crossing the mighty ocean just to get a glimpse of Mata Sita. Another character from the Ramayana that displayed the same type of loyalty was Jatayu, who bravely tried to combat Ravana and help the Devi be free, even though he knew about his strength being a bird. This quality will help us to grow to be even more empathetic by accompanying others in their time of need, which will thereby reduce the amount of sorrow in the world. The beauty of the Ramayana is that we can learn from what happened to the villains, like displayed above. Another vital point that we should take from the Ramayana is from the antagonist Ravana, that we shouldn't act before thinking. When his sister Shurpanakha came home with her nose cut off, he instantly took his decision with the feeling of revenge and anger to kidnap Devi Sita. This great devotee of Lord Shiva chose the wrong path filled with everything but truth and dharma, even after being so knowledgeable. Like Rama, if we also have a calm and forgiving nature, we'll be able to differentiate between what's right and what's wrong, and will also let us perform good actions resulting in the development in the society. To conclude, the significance of the Ramayana is like an umbrella that protects us from getting drenched in the rain of negativity and anguish. These lessons are simply a part of the countless values and important parts that have an endless flow like an elegant river. The teachings are railroad tracks that build a way to our destination, but we are the conductors that need to follow the correct path to overcome adversities and attain the objective. Just like how one polishes a diamond to bring out the shine, the significance of this epic also polishes our character and thoughts, so that our radiance can illuminate the entire world. Thank you so much.
Well, that was a very wonderful presentation, very good essence of Ramayana. For those who have not started regularly reading Ramayana, I think this is a good start on a good year. It's a good resolution. With this, we conclude our event on Navvarsh. Let's go back to our roots, because there's a lot in our roots. And with this, we wish Shubh Navvarsh to everyone, to their dear ones, to all life forms, not just the human forms, to build a better planet, to not to be consumed by mindless greed, whether individual or institutionalized. Thank you everyone for joining. Jai Shri Ram. Shubh Nav Varsh. We will be switching off the recording and then we can have a little bit of chit chat if somebody has some things to ask or answer. Thank you, Ji. Namaste.